We bring you the voice of Bay Area baseball for the past 29 years.
As I always say, baseball reflects what life is all about.
This is Talkin' Baseball with Marty Lurie.
That's what we do. We talk ball.
On KNBR, the sports leader.
And good morning, everybody, and welcome to Talkin' Baseball on this Sunday morning. A beautiful day around the Bay Area, I'm sure, as we get ready for Game 3 between the Giants. The first place, yes, you heard it right, the first place San Francisco Giants. They are now in first place in the National League West with their win yesterday over the Texas Rangers. A come from behind, another walk-off for the Giants. And, boy, Patrick Bailey, just give him a big situation and he gets a hit. Mark Simon's going to talk about that when he comes on in a little while. But Bailey beat the Rangers last year, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't he? Hit a big home run against them a couple of years ago or last year. But he got the big hit yesterday in the ninth inning to drive in that third run. And the Giants win it 3-2. But the Giants are 18-10 now. The San Diego Padres lost another game to the Tampa Bay Rays yesterday in San Diego. And Padres not hitting at all. Arise got hurt last week. Remember, he had that collision at first base with Mauricio Dubon of Houston. He's been out the whole week. But it's Tatis and Machado, and that's about it. And the Padres are not hitting, and they've hit a little bit of a skid now. They're 17-10. The Giants are 18-10. The Dodgers and Bruce Jenkins will talk about this with us this morning. Their pitching is just not happening, and they got beat again last night. They end up losing to the Pirates. They are now 17-10. They're a half a game back. And actually, the Dodgers did win last night, so they're a half a game back. And Arizona got 4 home runs. Yes, 4 home runs from Eugenio Suarez, the third baseman, the former Mariner and Cincinnati Red, and still ended up losing the game to Atlanta, who's hot now. Atlanta's getting close to 500, and they lost 8-7. So with all that said and done, the Giants are 18-10. They've got half-game lead over the Padres and the Dodgers, and it's April baseball, and it's a good time to be a Giants fan right now. The other thing to note is Colorado lost again. Colorado is now 4-22. 4-22. They've lost like 13 out of 14. I think they're 1-12 or 13 on the road. And the Giant bats are a little slow right now. We know that. Giant bats are a little slow, and they're getting their wins. They're playing great defense. The bullpen is outstanding. They're getting those clutch hits when they need them. They're making the plays when they're supposed to make them. And they're coming back, even though they're falling behind. The starting pitching has not been great, but the bullpen has been great. And you get them in a close game at the end, the Giants win it. But the bats are a little slow. And Flores still way up there in league leaders and RBIs. And Jung-Hoo Lee, I still say he's going to win the batting title. And he's 11 doubles. He's scoring runs. He's playing great. And Yastrzemski doing his job. But the bats are a little slow. So when that happens, I always say you go to the doctor and you get a prescription. You say, Doc, I'm not hitting right now. What can I do to feel better? And they say, well, how about 4 games with the Colorado Rockies at home? And that's what's coming up next weekend as the Giants go to San Diego for 2 this week and then come home with 4 with the Rockies in San Francisco. And I guarantee you things will be better for the Giants. So this could be a good week of baseball, and it all starts today with Jordan Hicks on the mound trying to straighten out his early season troubles that he's had. He has not been pitching great. He's really the one starter that you got to worry about. And he goes against a young man, and he was a phenom out of Vanderbilt, Al Leiter's son, Jack Leiter, 25 years old, and he had a blister, so he's been out for a couple of weeks. But he's pitched 2 games this year, 10 innings pitched, 1 run given up. He's got some kick change-up. We'll find out what that is. But basically, this guy is 12 games. This is his 9th Major League start. And he was the number 2 pick in the country out of Vanderbilt. So it's Jack Leiter on the hill on a beautiful Sunday against Jordan Hicks. Now, don't forget, we've got our contest going now. And that is guess the score of the game, and you can win dinner for 2 at Original Joe's in San Francisco, Walnut Creek. Walnut Creek is going to open late May, so we have that in the contest as well in Westlake. So we're going to have 2 winners for Walnut Creek today and 1 winner for the other restaurants of the Original Joe's group. And then Raf comes up with a random winner for dinner for 2 at Soto Mare in North Beach. So we got a lot of action today. If you can guess the score of today's game, you got a real good chance of getting a really fabulous dinner. Walnut Creek, the new Original Joe's, is going to be opening up late May, or one of the ones in North Beach, Westlake, or West Portal. So we got that going on as well. All right, Raf is ready. I'm ready. And we've got a good show for you on this Sunday as the Giants are in first place, 18-10. The 4-2 on the homestand that ends today against Bruce Bochy and the Texas Rangers. A big celebration yesterday for Brandon Crawford, so well-deserved. And I said it 2 years ago when it was clear he wasn't coming back. I said, give him his day. And then, well, he may do this, he may do that, we can't do it. I said, give him his day, he deserves it. And he got it yesterday, and he got the love from the fans yesterday before a sellout crowd, another sellout crowd for the Giants. Russ Stanley, I'm sure, is thrilled about that, who's in charge of ticketing. A lot going on in baseball. Bruce Jenkins and I will talk about it. Woe will be with us. Glenn Kuiper will be with us. And we've got a good show for you. But we'll take a break. Mark Simon next, right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Hey fans, Gene Bagato checked in from Bodega Bay, and he said that with May approaching, up at the Tides are getting ready for 2 things in particular. The annual Fisherman's Festival on the weekend of May 3rd and May 4th, and of course Mother's Day on May 11th. On Mom's special day, along with the regular great fare, special menus are being planned to make her day truly memorable. This will be fun. And if you're looking to make it a special weekend, there's the Inn at the Tides with its large, comfortable rooms, all with a bay view. So if you're looking for a great getaway, think no further than the Tides Wharf and the Inn at the Tides in scenic Bodega Bay. Fans, it's great to have Grant Power back with us. He is the president and CEO of Nations. Grant, what is going on with Nations in the Bay Area?
It's been a really exciting year of bringing in new members of the Nation family and seeing our brand branch out over our Northern California market. Lots of work. I've learned a ton, even though I've been here for a while. And we have a very busy summer of opening up new stores. I'd say the other big update, which is always true, is that our strawberry products, our strawberry pancake, strawberry French toast, or a very famous strawberry cheesecake, or the strawberry tart, that's been part of our Nation's tradition for decades. We have the same supplier coming up from Oxnard down there in Ventura County, California, and really excited to get those products into our customers' mouths.
Well, great to hear it. Grant, if one wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Give me a call on my cell phone, 510-612-0036, area code 510-612-0036. Give me a call directly, and we'd love to give you some guidance and then support you in your introduction to the Nations family.
Wow, fabulous. Grant Power, President, CEO of Nations. Have a good day. Thanks, Grant.
My pleasure. Great to be on.
Mark Simon. Mark, I love you, man.
And I think that's part of this Buster Posey ethos, Bob Melvin ethos. Got to do little things to win games because you don't have the talent that the Dodgers and perhaps the Padres have. And thus far, between that and the defense, pretty good.
Oh, no! And that is Mark Simon, of course, giving us a little bit of a preview from a few weeks ago of what he thought about the Giants. And they're doing it. They're doing the little things. And right now, they are number one in the National League West at 18-10. Mark Simon, Sports Info Solutions, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I just woke up from a nap. I'm doing all right.
All right, very good. Waking up is good. Good for you. We've got baseball today. But yesterday, I want to start with this one. This Eugenio Suarez for Arizona hit 4 homers in a game. And it's only happened 19 times in the whole history of Major League Baseball. And I can remember a few of them. I really can. And it came back to me when I was reading about it that the last person to do it was J.D. Martinez for Arizona. And the person before that, I think, was Scooter Gennett. How about that? Scooter Gennett. And Suarez was playing third in the game for the Reds. Gennett hit the 4 home runs. So just some of your thoughts on the 4 home run game. It's so unusual.
It is. I think the thing that makes it particularly amazing for him is that he's hitting 202 this season. So he was sub 200 coming into the day, and he went 4 for 4. He was 15 for 90. So he was hitting 167 entering the day. And he knocked 4 out. And the other thing is it reminds me of the Bob Horner one, because Bob Horner hit 4 in a game and a loss. I'm surprised they pitched to him in the 9th inning to allow him to get the 4th. A game where he could tie the game with 1 swing. He did. And Scooter Gennett kind of throws everything off because most of the other guys that are in there are guys that were decent home run hitters. Scooter Gennett just happened to have an amazing day. Suarez is this all-or-nothing hitter, too, because he strikes out all the time. He had over 200 strikeouts in 2023, so I guess he had a good day.
Yeah, well, he hit 40 homers, didn't he, for somebody?
49,
right?
in 2019.
Yeah, so he's got the power, but 4 homers for him. Look, Willie did it, against the Braves. I remember Rocky Colavito hit 4. Sean Green had the big game. So it's unusual, but it happened yesterday. And if you have a chance to look at the video, it's pretty exciting to see him take those 4 swings. The Braves did win the game, believe it or not, with the 4 homers, and that doesn't happen that often that the team will lose the game. But you're a National League East guy. Your Mets are really playing great baseball. Senega pitched good yesterday, and the Phillies still are struggling along. The Braves are kind of getting back into it, though.
Yeah, Braves are 12-14. I think it's like 8 of 9 that they've won. Like, I guess the real version of them has shown up in the last little bit. Ozuna is off to a pretty good start hitting-wise. They're getting good pitching from Spencer Schwellenbach, who I think the expectation was going to be pretty good. Iglesias has been a little shaky so far, but there are other relievers that have picked up the slack. I didn't think they were a last-place team. I didn't think they were an 0-8 team, and I think they're showing that they're going to be a little bit better than that. But I don't know that anyone's catching them up. 5-game lead already. I don't know who's going to be better than 5 games ahead of them the rest of the year because they're looking pretty good.
I know. You said it last week. It is early. It's only April, but I will tell you this. Pete Alonso, and I said it all winter long, the Giants should get Pete Alonso. They need that bat, and Lamont Wade, unfortunately, is off to this terrible start. But, boy, yeah. Pete Alonso, he could do no wrong right now.
Yeah, he has chased a lot less. He has taken advantage of the pitches when he's had the opportunity to hit them. He has, I think, played as well as anybody. It's funny. So he entering yesterday, he had played 26 games. Yesterday was his 27th. So if you took everything and multiplied it by 6, that would give you a 162-game pace. And his pace right now is 36 homers, 156 RBIs, 66 doubles. And he's never been a huge doubles hitter. So that's kind of a big deal for him. The thing was that yesterday, so if you divided his season like in half, and you were like, okay, here are your first 13, and here are your last 13, his more recent half is probably good enough to win the MVP by itself, but it took his numbers down. Like, it took his OPS down like 150 points because he got up to such an amazing start, and now he's in his last 13 games or whatever, he's only got a 950 OPS. Yeah, he's been fantastic for them so far.
Yeah, it's a good story. Good story. Well, today, look, Texas is in town, and we saw the Brewers, who really defensively had a horrible series. Their bullpen is a mess. You got to have a good bullpen today. There's no doubt in my mind about it. But today, Texas is in town. They don't hit at all, really. This is not the Texas team of the 90s that just would bash the ball. But they've got a kid going today, Jack Leiter, Al Leiter's son, right-hander, and Hicks for the Giants, who's had nothing but trouble. And it's usually one inning for him where things come apart. So what about this matchup today? A Texas team that doesn't score a lot, get Hicks, who's starting to give up some runs.
Yeah, I'm going to give my colleague Connor Walsh credit because in the stuff that we put together for Dave, John, Mike, and Kuiper, he actually did the work today. And that's why I was able to take a nap. Jordan Hicks has struggled, as you said, last 3 starts in particular. He's continuing to struggle with his sinker. Sinkers away have been a problem for him. He needs the sinker away to be effective. And thus far, it's been pretty ugly. Other than that, the first start or two, and they're getting him early in games, which is you wouldn't have thought that. Like, he's supposed to be good early in games, and then late in games he's supposed to struggle. So he's still trying to get right. Jack Leiter, first start back to the injured list. 2 starts so far, 10 innings, 1 run. Changed his pitching approach slightly, particularly against left-handed hitters. He throws 5 pitches. He throws them all about the same. So you have to guess a little bit with him. The 4-seam has not been effective for him. That is what he's looking for. He is looking for his fastball to be better. It has not been particularly good this season. It was not particularly good last season.
No, last year he got lit up, but of course he's, just getting his indoctrination into Major League Baseball. But he's got something called a kick change. Now, can you tell me what that is, or do I have to get Eno Saris from The Athletic in here to explain this?
God, Eno is so much better at this than I am. I'm the much
less. What the heck is a kick change?
It's a change. So it's kind of like a splitter, but with a 3-fingered grip. Like, it's like I don't know if this is exactly how you would describe it, but it's like a 3-fingered claw where you throw it, and then at the end the ball kind of kicks. And John Miller called it the hammer change, and I actually prefer that because it looked more like a hammer. It has that sudden drop where it just kind of disappears like a splitter does. And
right.
I thought that hammer change was a good way to call it.
All right. This I remember there was always a regular change-up until Bert Hooton in the early 70s came around, and he had this great knuckle curve that all of a sudden nobody could hit, and he threw a no-hitter and all that stuff, and that started the basic it's not a changeup anymore. You got to have another name that goes with it. So, all right, three-fingered Mordecai Brown, the great pitcher for the Chicago Cubs, would be a big hero today. That was look him up. It was a lot of fun. All right, Patrick Bailey.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, when he could loft a single. Yeah. Or he could knock one out when the game's on the line. It's really funny. He can't hit otherwise, but when the game's on the line, he's trouble.
Yeah, it's really bizarre, and I think we saw this last year. It's almost like he needs to pretend that there's a problematic spot. With, bases empty, I think he's hitting below 100 this season, and that's really, really poor. But this season, in what they call the high-leverage moment, he's got 4 or 5 hits, and not a lot of at-bats, and it's the only way that he's hit this year. And so far, his framing has been good, but it's been a little strange because the Giants haven't gotten some calls in terms of pitching, in terms of close pitches being called strikes. If you look at pitches up in the strike zone, they don't seem to be getting called strikes as often as they were. It's a little weird. Yeah, he's 0-88 with men on base. He's 3 for 34, but high leverage, important situations, he's 6 for 13. He's the guy that you want up.
Yeah, no, I knew it yesterday, and I said it's here we go with a nice soft single is what I tweeted out.
Actually, to go for one step further, 1 strikeout, 6 for 13, 1 strikeout. If you take all his other at bats, he's averaging about a strikeout every other at bat. But high leverage spots doesn't strike out.
Interesting. All right, now after Texas today, and as I say, they don't hit a lot. They had trouble hitting in Sacramento. They haven't hit really in this series at all. They got some great pitching from Malley and from Evaldi. We'll see what Leiter can do today. But after this, it's the Padres, and they don't hit. And they have the great bullpen, the Giants and Padres. Let me tell you, you could have a 20-inning game with these guys. But neither team hits a lot, Texas or San Diego. The Giants aren't tearing the cover off the ball either. This should be an interesting couple of games with the Padres.
Yeah, can I root against the 20-inning game when it's a 9:40 start on the East Coast? Those tend to go a little long. But yeah, in terms of what you're talking about, yeah, they're both terrific. Suarez, Jeremiah Estrada, Jason Adam, Adrian Morejon, Alec Jacob, I can keep going. Wandy Peralta, Yuki Matsui. Every arm that they run out is a pretty good arm. Their defense has been good. Tatis has been good, great at bat and in the field. Him and Alonso are essentially the 2 best players in the National League right now. Yeah, Manny Machado's hit. Cronenworth's hit a little bit when he's been healthy, but he's not. Arise got hurt. They're formidable. I don't think that they necessarily super scare the Giants, but you just have to watch out that you don't let Tatis beat you with 1 or 2 swings.
Well, they'll get Pavetta. I was just looking it up, and it looks like Hart will be the 2 pitchers that they'll get. Yes,
they missed Michael King.
Right. So we'll see. But then, as I always say, when you're not hitting, you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, let me give you a prescription. And it's usually the Colorado Rockies come in.
Yeah.
And they're coming in next weekend for 4 games with the Giants. So when you and I talk next Sunday, this could be a very interesting week for the San Francisco Giants, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm concerned that the Rockies are going to go 40 and 122. I think there's a legit possibility. They're hitting .216 as a team. Their staff ERA is 5.2. That's a problem.
Hey, Wilmer's still driving in runs. Not hitting great. Not hitting terribly. You know.
Another high leverage guy. Yep.
Right. Yeah, when the money's on the line. Yeah.
Oh, he's been terrific. An RBI game, and yet hitting .255, and just clogging the base paths, quite frankly, because he's not very fast. In fact, he does not have a double this season in 105 plate appearances. That seems really strange. You should have some doubles in there. He just has those home runs, and he's had this weird superpower where it's the Patrick Bailey thing. When a hit is needed, a hit is gotten. He's got a couple of high leverage home runs. He has some hits late in the game that mean something. He just doesn't necessarily do anything else.
Yeah, interesting week with the Brewers. The Brewers couldn't do anything right defensively. I mean, just terrible defensively in the infield.
Yep.
They don't have a great bullpen either, and that's going to sink them. So my question is, the Cubs are separating a little bit in the Central. They're still hitting the heck out of the ball. There's Pete Crow Armstrong and Suzuki and Bush and the rest of them, Kyle Tucker. The Cubs kind of separating a little bit in the Central?
I know it's only 2.5, but I think that division is in good shape for them. I think they're going to be very good this season. I had said that before the year. I think I had them winning the World Series. They've hit. That's been the big thing for them so far, and that's extended to Crow Armstrong. It's Tucker hitting 300 and OPSing 1,000. The thing that hurts them is Justin Steele getting hurt. They lose one of their best starting pitchers. They still have Imanaga. Matthew Boyd has looked good so far. Ryan Presley out of the pen is not striking guys out, but he's getting outs and has 4 saves so far. I think they're the best team in the National League Central, probably by 5 to 7 games at least. And I think that they will win the division. We can mark that one down as a mark prediction.
Okay, no, I'm with you on that. They've scored a ton of runs every day this week. There are 8 or 9, 10 runs being put up till the Phillies shut them down. Luzardo shut them down yesterday. Verlander looked a little better, I thought, on Friday night. It looked a little bit more in command.
Yes, fastball has gotten outs last 2 times that he's pitched. It's funny. I looked something up. What was it for them? It was that he had his last start was 7 innings and 2 hits or something of that ilk, and it meant like the first time that he had a start like that happened to have been against the Angels, I think, and it was like early in his career, 2006, and his average fastball velocity was about the same in both starts. So it's amazing that at 42 he's still going. I think a couple of weeks ago I had written him off here. I guess I'm starting to erase that like halfway, but maybe not all the way. We shall see. I'm still, I guess, skeptical of a guy of his age making 30 starts in a season, but we shall see.
Yeah, did absolutely better. So we'll see what Hicks can straighten out today against a Texas team that is definitely challenged right now and scoring some runs. Mark, have a great Sunday and enjoy your day, and we'll talk next week after the 3 games with the Rockies, getting ready for a 4th. This should be an interesting show next week, believe me.
Yeah, you got it, Marty. Thanks.
All right, take care. That is Mark Simon, Sports Info Solutions. Mark A. Simon says on Twitter. Coming up next, Bruce Jenkins right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Fans, great news. If you enjoy Original Joe's, there's a new Original Joe's coming to Walnut Creek, opening late May, early June. Let me tell you a little bit about it. It is going to be fabulous. 300 seats, 13,000 square feet, 3 outdoor patios with 90 outside seats, a full exhibition counter, and cocktail lounge. You know, that's the best. And the cocktail lounge will have a multitude of TVs to watch the Giants and the dreaded A's if you want to. It's the first opening of an Original Joe's in 70 years in a new market, and this is really going to be something. 9 years since opening in Westlake, so this is going to be fabulous. It will have a private dining room with accommodations up to 40 people, with its own private bar and patio. It fits Walnut Creek like a glove. This is going to be something else. I can't wait to do some events at the new Original Joe's in Walnut Creek, coming late May, early June. Hey, it's Marty, and I'm here to tell you that it's time to discover the islands, and of course that means River Islands. They're celebrating 10 years of bringing the good life to Bay Area homebuyers. What's more, Del Webb, one of America's best-known builders for active adults in the 55 and over crowd, has just opened 3 neighborhoods at River Islands. They're building a huge community center on its own lake, all for buyers looking for a great lifestyle and a little less maintenance. I like that. Homes are priced from the 600,000s. Start your tour online at riverislands.com. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands? It sure is for me.
Look through the window of the original Joe's on North Beach and you'll see 2 guys at the counter talking ball. Time for you to listen in to their conversation. Marty Lurie and the SF Chronicles' Bruce Jenkins are looking through the window of baseball. Sponsored by Original Joe's of North Beach and Westlake on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
And good morning, Bruce Jenkins. How are you today?
Doing well, Marty. How's it going?
Good, good. As baseball does it better than any other sport, as they honor different players and eras and things like that, the Giants did it yesterday in a beautiful way, bringing Brandon Crawford back and finally giving him his day. How did you like it?
Yeah, it was great. I was out there with my wife, and we had a terrific time. You know, he's so understated. He was super nervous, and he wasn't like Will Clark's speech where he winds up just shouting into the microphone and everybody's getting fired up. But, you know, just to see that, you know, some of the people who were there, you know, to see Matt Cain, Matt Duffy, you know, how great is that he showed up, all these guys. And then Boshi got maybe the loudest ovation of them all. Very appropriate that he was in town. But, you know, Crawford, they showed, I think, maybe 3 or 4 different video packages. They could have shown 4 more. This guy made so many great plays, and he had an awful lot of big hits. And it was just a great day, you know, forever Giant kind of day. And the kid was raised well. He got 5 kids. It's just spectacular.
As of now, it's 5.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, I'll tell you one thing, and I was talking to Will about this a little bit during the week. You know, you don't win without a shortstop.
Right.
You just don't. You know, it's the old adage, you just have to have a shortstop. And not only was he probably, other than Travis Jackson, if you want to go back to the 1930s,
right,
probably the best shortstop that this franchise has ever had, and he won 2 World Series and some Gold Gloves. So, I mean, you just can't underestimate how important he was because he's so understated. But the hits, the 9th inning, if the ball was hit to him, the play, he always came through.
Yeah, you know, it's possible to win with a shortstop who doesn't hit much. You think back to Dal Maxfield, Mark Belanger, guys like that. But if you have a great shortstop who does hit, it's not that he was, you know, he wasn't Cal Ripken as a hitter, but he had a knack of delivering. You can't win without a guy who makes all the plays and makes the great plays, the routine ones and the great ones.
Yeah.
I can't think of any team that won the whole thing with a very dubious shortstop, except maybe the Detroit Tigers when they put Mickey Stanley there.
and Mickey Stanley was terrific for fans.
He was,
Don't remember it. They put him there to get Ray Euler out, who couldn't hit a lick, and Mickey Stanley was the center fielder. It'd be like putting Jung-Hoo Lee at short. In the World
Amazing
Series.
Move, yeah.
And he played great, and that got Al Kaline into the lineup, which was the big deal at that point.
Exactly.
All right, that's that. All right. On a sad note, Walt Jocketty passed away yesterday, Bruce, and Walt Jocketty has a long history in the Bay Area with the A's and, of course, then with the Cardinals and bring Tony La Russa over and Mark McGwire and then eventually with the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, I was covering and traveling with the A's in the early '80s when he was there, working under Sandy, and he was a terrific guy, really knowledgeable guy, super friendly guy, had no ego whatsoever that I could ever determine, and he wound up, leading the Cardinals to. What he did? We always talk about how the Cardinals were always good. We're thinking about long ago, but also, guys like Jocketty running the club. They won the Division 7 times while he was there. He's bringing in. He brought in Pujols and Molina, McGuire, Edmonds, and all these guys, and he kept the Cardinal tradition going with smart moves at the top, which we were all used to. Then he goes to Cincinnati, and they win 3 or 4 times, right? I mean, just he has an amazing track record, and I don't think he really got his due.
Right.
You know, when people talked about the A's, they talked about Billy Beane and Sandy Alderson, and rightly so. But this guy had a fine career with 3 different teams. He was just excellent all the way through. It was so sad to hear that he had a bunch of health problems that eventually did him in. But he's well remembered.
Yeah, and nice man too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was
very nice man.
Like a Ned Coletti. I mean, you could always talk to him.
That's right. Yeah.
And I liked him a lot. Yeah. Walt Jocketty, too bad that he had passed away. Well, we had a 4-homer game yesterday, only the 19th time. And, I think back to Willie Mays or Sean Green and J.D. Martinez and the great Scooter Gennett and Gil Hodges and Rocky Colavito. And, it is an unusual one. And if you get to see the tape of the different home runs, thinking of being there, it's pretty exciting to see it.
Yeah, I've never had the pleasure of being on hand for one. I mean, this was the first one since J.D. Martinez in 2017. It's really rare, and Suarez to me always would be a candidate. He's got the classic launch angle swing. There's no doubt what he's up there for. He's absolutely big uppercut, beautiful uppercut swing, and it's just amazing. It was like a machine last night. But there are some great names. I guess the first one that really stands out is Lou Gehrig in 1932 when the live ball started to kick in, and Josh Gibson did it in the Negro League. Sadaharu O did it in Japan. And you know what I've forgotten in the minor leagues? Our Matt Williams, did it for Phoenix in 1988.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a 4-homer game before he caught on with the Giants. So yeah, lots of good stuff. And I say, Suarez really looks the part. It was a big win for Arizona because they've been scuffling in a number of different ways. Gallen's been roughed up a little bit, and but they're going to be there. This division race is going to be something in the West.
Yeah, their pitching has not been good, and Bruce, it's a game of bullpens. And let's talk about this week just a little bit. I mean, the Brewers, they got Quintana pitched well, but boy, they can't catch the ball in the infield. The infield defense was terrible. They couldn't turn double plays, and then when it got to the bullpen, they had nothing in the bullpen. And Texas, if their ace guys aren't going out of the bullpen, they've got trouble too. This whole baseball thing has turned into a game of bullpens.
Yeah, well, I think it's been that way for a number of years. I mean, if you get a starter that goes 5 innings, you're singing and dancing. So the bullpen takes over every day. It's a story every single day.
Yeah.
It's not, hey, that guy went 9. No, he didn't. He didn't go 9. He didn't go 8. And that's how you win. I really like the Giants bullpen. Walker came back really strong. I think everybody knew that his stuff was there. There was nothing wrong with his arm, and he got out of a jam really nicely to set up that win. But they come at you. They come at you a lot of different ways with the lefty Miller and the submarining Rogers and Birdsong is a long guy. The Giants are looking very good there. I think better than the Dodgers for one.
They're looking better than just about anybody.
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah.
And that's huge for them. I want to talk about Rogers for a second. I mentioned this to Raph. Bruce, this guy may be the greatest 8th-inning reliever in the history of the game.
John Wetland is my choice, but yeah, he's close.
Really, come on. The guy comes in, and it's 2 ground balls to second and a pop-up, and I'll see you later. And maybe he may walk somebody, and maybe they'll luckily knock one out. But this Tyler Rogers is just automatic.
Yeah, well, the great thing is I mentioned the diversity. Diversity is a great thing in the bullpen. Of course, the Giants had it when they had the 2 lefties, Affeldt and Lopez counteracting. The right-handers is a different look. You might see 3 different looks in an inning. And, guys can study Rogers, but nobody has a bunch of at-bats against him. He doesn't pitch. He doesn't throw that many pitches, and all of a sudden he's coming at you that way. You're making a huge adjustment. Next thing you know, you got to be 4 pitches into the count before you really know what's going on with this guy. And if he has his control, like you say, he's just murderous to hit.
Yeah, it's been a huge deal for me to watch him year after year, and I keep saying, okay, I can hit him. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, but these are major league hitters, and they just cannot do any damage against him. And he really is just a complete weapon in the eighth inning. Complete weapon for me in the eighth inning.
Yeah, and he'll come at you, low and in. It's not like everything is going away from a right-hand hitter. That is a great pitch, and sometimes it's like a frisbee, and they miss it by a foot. But then he'll come in with the same-looking release, but the thing will come down and in on you, and you have to have that variety, and he's got it.
Well, you wrote about the Dodgers today in your column online that I read this morning on the Chronicle. The Dodger pitching, you've said this for about 6 weeks now, that their pitching is all over the place. They could be getting Gonsolin back this week.
Yeah.
But Ohtani, who knows what's going on? You were pretty critical of the Dodgers and saying, hey, you better take a good look at what's happening there.
Yeah, I mean, it's more fact than opinion. I mean, they really don't know what they're getting from almost anybody but Yamamoto. I mean, it's really exciting to watch Roki Sasaki out there. He's just a young kid with great stuff, but he's pretty much got just the one pitch that's getting people out, the split finger, and he looks about 16, and his control isn't there. And he got roughed up a little bit last night. He's going to be good, but you don't know what you're getting. Blake Snell's out. Glasnow's coming back, but he's been out. Dustin May, he's had like 18 surgeries. You don't know what they're going to get from him. And it's Kershaw. He'll be on the IL for 5 more years. So I mean, they just don't quite know what they're getting, and it's a big difference from the Giants, who exactly know what they're getting from their starters. And there's no doubt who they are. They're all, except for Hicks, they're doing well. I mean, Verlander and Robbie Ray were both very good against Texas, and it's just very stable. And I think stability is what that Dodger rotation lacks. Now, they could all come together and just blow everybody away. They have, Lord knows, they have the talent, but we'll see.
Well, you used a word there which I wanted to talk about, and that's stability. Look at Bob Melvin's lineup every day.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's some guys, look, Lamont Wade is, 6 for 70 or whatever it is. Bailey is, 11 for, 100. But, he sticks with these guys every day. Lee Bat's third. Adames is second. Adames you were out there yesterday. Nice bat control and just slap one into center field. He puts the catcher in when he's got to put him in. There's just something about Melvin and stability.
Well, it's just, I think the fans love it too. The team has to go well, or if you're trotting the same guys out there, we got to do something about this. But a good team will look familiar every day with just a couple little adjustments. And a big difference too is that in terms of a guy who's a team captain, the leader of the team, they've got guys like that all over the place. I mean, Verlander is that way. Chapman, Adames, for heaven's sake, he's one of the great leaders we've ever seen, just with his emotion. Yaz is a great leader. Webb, they've got character guys all up and down that team, and that's a huge thing, especially when there's going to be 4 out of 6 losses on the road, and guys getting a little depressed. But these are the guys that bring you out of that. And Jung Hoo Lee is a special guy unto himself. I don't know. He's not a leader. He's not barging into the clubhouse, and telling everybody what to do. But he leads by example because his baseball smarts are just off the charts. He's such a smart, good ball player. So they got a lot going on in sort of intangibles, which mean an awful lot.
Yeah, they have good things going for them, right? This is only April. It's 18-10. They're in first place, but I like it. I really do. I like what I see here. Historical note, this is one of the most important, and Curt Flood, who had the lawsuit against baseball, which eventually led to getting rid of the reserve clause eventually by arbitration, and all the big salaries we have today go back to what Curt Flood sacrificed. But he walked away from baseball today, Bruce. He was playing for the Senators, and he not only walked away, but he went to Denmark.
Yeah, he didn't go from St. Louis for a trip to Kansas City. I mean,
he went to Denmark. That was it.
Well, it was a sign of the depression that he went through, Marty. I mean, this is a great player out of Oakland, McClymonds High, then Oakland Tech. Hit over 300. He played in the 60s. This guy won 7 Gold Gloves in the Willie Mays era. You think he wasn't a good center fielder? He's remembered for the play in the '68 series where he stumbled on Jim Northrup's ball, and he's remembered that way. But in fact, he was an equal to Willie Mays in center field and was duly noted that way. But when he got traded from the Cardinals to the Phillies, he felt it was just wrong. The reserve clause prevented players from getting their freedom eventually contractually. He didn't like Philadelphia. He didn't like the way the fans treated Richie Allen. He just didn't want to go there. And he started thinking about it. He said, to me, baseball is a form of slavery, and I'm going to take him on. I'm going to sue baseball. And almost everybody didn't like the idea, even the fellow players. You're crazy. What are you doing here? And not to mention the owners. And he lost in court 3 times fighting this thing. Now, eventually it wound up great, and everybody's making millions, but he got no money out of it, fell into depression because he was always in court. His career was ending. He wound up spending a lot of time in Europe and Spain. After he only played 1 more year after he sued baseball, and he's over there. It was a sad story, Marty. He was a drunk. He was living out of a duffel bag. His family was in tatters. He had no money. I mean, oh my God! It's this guy. He paid such a price, but he's remembered as a hero. And of course, all the players, bow down to his legacy now. But complicated story. But he sure did some good things for the game.
Well said. Well said. Curt Flood walked away from baseball today and had a lot of issues, but we don't have the game today without him. I'll tell you that. I didn't realize that. Comparing him to Willie, I didn't realize that, Bruce. That's a good comparison.
Yeah, 1 Gold Glove after another. I mean, you think Will Mays is just going to win it automatically? Like Brooks Robinson at third or something. But no, they recognized Curt Flood for what he was doing, and it was pretty special.
Good. Very good. Hey, have a great Sunday. I'm glad you went to the game yesterday, and we'll talk next week. Very good.
Okay, great. Thanks, Marty.
All right, thanks. That is the great Bruce Jenkins, the professor next, right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Hello again, Marty Lurie here to talk to you about my good friends at Georgie Brothers, the largest family-owned furniture store in the entire Bay Area. Right now, and good through May 26th, you can save hundreds of dollars on my favorite line of furniture, Stressless. I own Stressless furniture in my home, and I can tell you it's the most comfortable place to sit in my house. Visit them at GeorgieBrothers.com. That's GIORGIBROS.com. Remember, tell them that Marty sent you. Fans, you know how I feel about Pave Fine Jewelry. Pave is celebrating its 40th anniversary. Located at 5496 College Avenue in Oakland, Phone is 510-547-7000. Michael Enlick, I've talked about him for so many years. He is the best jewelry designer in the Bay Area. It's time for weddings, it's time for graduation and special family events. Pave Fine Jewelry makes that moment special for you. You'll have it for your entire lifetime. Michael Enlick, I can't say enough about him. He is absolutely the best. PaveFineJewelry.com. Check him out.
Time now to go to Sunday school with the professor.
Hey, Professor, take it easy, will you?
Giants coach Ron Wotus with Marty Lurie.
Oh, I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper.
On your home of Giants baseball.
Good answer. I like the way you think.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Brought to you by River Islands, one of the country's top-selling master plan communities just across the Altamont in Lathrop. Where else can you live on a lake next door to a park or walking distance to your kid's new school? With 10 new neighborhoods, River Islands is the one place you can't afford to miss.
All right, great to have you back with us. Get ready for Giants baseball today. They try to win this series against Bruce Bochy and the Texas Rangers. Ron Wotus, the professor, good morning. How are you?
Marty, I'm doing great. It's a little cool at the ballpark right now, like it's been in the Bay Area, but that's not going to stop us from trying to beat Boch.
It's fun to go against him, isn't it? To watch him manage and come out and change pitchers. I don't. It's just the fans love it. It's great to see him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always enjoy getting a chance to see him in person and talk with him. But you said it, the fans absolutely love him. You know, at Crawford's celebration yesterday, he got a huge ovation. And, you know, after being somewhere for 13 years, I think it was 12 years, and winning 3 championships, you know, deservedly so, that they love seeing him as well.
What did he say about Craw? Well, what's Bochy's thought about Craw and how important he was as a shortstop?
Well, he didn't speak yesterday, but, I mean, I've said it many times on the air. We used to have a lot of conversations when we're making out the lineup. You know, the trainers, Dave Gresham may say, you know, Craw's a little banged up and he could use a day off, or, you know, or let's say he was struggling with his hitting and he could use a day off, you know, to freshen him up. And the problem was we never could take him out because you'd have Lincecum on the mound, or you had Bumgarner, or you had Vogelsong. His defense was too valuable. So Boch loved him. I mean, how could you not write that guy's name into the lineup every day? So the point is, he played hurt because we just didn't have a second line of defense. He's such a huge part of our championship years and what we had to do with the pitching and the defense. I mean, he was absolutely the glue. So Boch loved them.
Yeah, and you look back on Craw and what he accomplished as a Giant. Well, and I mentioned this with Bruce Jenkins this morning. You go back to Travis Jackson in the 30s. There may not be a better shortstop than Brandon Crawford when you look at the whole franchise, and Alvin Dark and everyone else who played short for the Giants. Craw's numbers and what he accomplished may be the best of all.
Yeah, no, I have never seen those guys play. As you said, you can compare numbers, but the thing that I love about him is a couple of things I just mentioned. He played hurt. He was the ultimate team guy. He was the glue. He made my job easier, you know, whether it was analytics and starting where we want to play and then having him use his instincts and read the swing and adjust, because, you know, great players, you know, do those things, and you can't rely on just plots and, you know, looking at maps and information. You have to use your instincts. All the great players do that, and he was very good at that, and he was the leader out there. But, you know, the longevity as well, 13 years with the Giants. I'm not sure how long those other guys are with the Giants, Marty, in their career. You would know, obviously, but I think the longevity in the World Series kind of speak for themselves. For me, he's the greatest shortstop of all time, although I didn't see those guys play.
All right, I'll leave it at that. No, he did it, and we saw it. And that was it for me. Hey, let's talk River Islands for a second. Colleen sent me a couple of notes, and 6 more neighborhoods are set to open this summer and the fall. And Islanders Field with Don Johns is very busy every week now, which eventually go to the area code games and all these tournaments that they have right at River Islands, Will.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, boy, they continue to expand. I mean, 6 new neighborhoods, in the fall, as you said. But the thing I like, with Don Johns and all the activity that they have, you mentioned the area code games. They have stuff here in May coming up. In June, 6th through 8th, they got the Bay Area World Series. And then, as you said, Bay Area code games, which those are games where Major League Baseball scouts invite players to try out. So they have the tryouts there on June 11th and June 24th, and there's a lot of top talent in the area and in the country that will be there. So a lot to look forward to. If you check out, there's more on riverislands.com, but there's a lot of activity there at the field.
Yeah, and plus the high schools playing ball, the Riptides, River Islands. We got to watch. We got to go out and watch a Riptide game one of these days. Got to do.
Yeah, they're starting from scratch, Marty. They're starting from scratch. Maybe we got to go over there and pump them up a little bit. See what kind of talent they have.
Come on, absolutely. All right, let's talk a little baseball here. Something. First base is a complicated position. Whoa. We see it with Casey Schmidt, who's hurt now, trying to learn the position. Lamont Wade, as good as he is, gets in the wrong spot here and there. It's not a simple position to play, you know that?
No, there's a lot going on. I think that, there was a time people would say, if the guy can't play short or third or second, put him at first. All he has to do is catch the ball. He's got a big glove. You give him the biggest glove on the field. But that's not the case. There's a lot of nuance to the position. Actually, years ago when the pitchers were, bunting and slashing, and we ran more bunt plays, it was even more complicated. And the simple fact that they limit the throwovers to only 2 throwovers now. They don't get as many throwovers. I mean, remember when Ricky Henderson and Vince Coleman and these base stealers were over, the pitchers would throw over 4 or 5 times in a row sometimes, and definitely throwing over to keep them close. So they got to be able to tag. It's more difficult today, though, because you can't step in the baseline. The pizza boxes, the pillows, the bases are so darn big. The first baseman, like Lamont, when he goes to tag, he can't step in the baseline. He can't step in, and that's, the length of the base, so you got to reach to the back corner of the base. So it's more difficult to tag runners now. But there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on and a lot of nuance to the position.
Yeah, it is. And J.T. Snow explained it, and no one played it better than him. And I watch Chapman every day at third, and I think of him. I always said about J.T. Snow, he's a shortstop playing first. And every game you go to, he'll do something. Well, I'll tell you, every game I watch or go to with Chapman at third, he does something. And I've never seen a guy play deeper. He's almost playing in the bullpen, down the left field line, but he gets away with it.
Yeah, look, I mean, he closes on the ball, better than anybody I've seen. And I've never seen a third baseman play deeper, to your point. Look, if Albert Pujols was playing, hitting at the end, sure, the shortstop used to go out on the grass 2 steps, right? But that's not allowed. But a lot of teams had their shortstop go out because he was that slow, or Benji Molina was another one. But he does it with average runners. And, people don't realize, look, you have to charge the ball like a shortstop, and when there's those slow rollers or balls aren't hit hard and you have to make that off-balance throw, it's a much more difficult play to make, and he wouldn't be able to play that deep if he couldn't close on the ball and didn't have the great arm. I mean, he throws the ball as hard on an off-balance throw than I've ever seen, and so those skills are highlighted by the depth that he plays, and not everybody can do that.
Why don't you bunt on him, though? The guy's playing so deep, he's almost on the grass. Why not bunt?
Well, sometimes they do. As you know, Marty, we have so much information that we know the bunters, and he'll be up for the bunters. But even when there's bunters, or even when the infield is in, he plays deeper. Most players, when the infield's in, they may play even with the bag at third or a step behind.
Right.
He plays 2 or 3 steps behind because he closes on the ball and he has that rocket arm and he gets more range. But, there are times that, he goes back because, if a player's not a bunter, you want to get as deep as you possibly can. And he's going to get more balls by doing that. So that's really his signature, is playing deep.
Well, I'll tell you the other thing I love. I could talk about Chapman all day. That 5-4-3 double play that he turns, that throw to second, and Fitzgerald turns it really nicely now. And I know he's banged up a little bit, or he wasn't in there yesterday, but that 5-4-3 is a legitimate double play. You could put it in the book when it's hit to him.
Yeah, look, Chap gets rid of the ball quick. Fitz is turning the double play very well. He's adapting to second base every day very, very well. And you're right. We're turning the double play, and that's important. That's important. When a pitcher gets the ball on the ground with a man on first, we like to tell our infielders we expect a double play. It's not a bonus. It has to be turned. But I want to go back to your question about why guys don't bunt on them, and I should have added this, when you go to the plate, and you got a Chapman at third, even if he's playing a little bit deeper, a few steps behind third, or you have a Manny Machado, or you have a Arenado, or you have a Craig Nettles, you have these guys, Brooke Robinson, guys that have a great reputation as a defender, immediately it takes the bunt thought out of your head, really. And conversely, when you have a player who's not as adept or as quick, you have to play him more shallower. As good as Pablo was, we had to play him way in on the grass on these real fast bunters, because if they put it down where they want it, he's not going to get to it and make the play. So you have to, position your depth to your third baseman to his ability, and usually the reputation, guys won't even think about it. It's like the catcher, right? You got Ivan Rodriguez behind the plate. You go, we're not going to run today. Don't get picked off. Stay close to the base. He likes to throw. We're not going to try to steal bases, etc.
Boy, it's great baseball with the professor. No, it's great baseball. I'm talking about Chapman, who, in my opinion, is the MVP of this team simply because of what he does defensively. But then I think of Lee and what he's done. And he had an interesting incident on Friday night when it looked like, did he get hit by the pitch? Did he swing? Did it hit the bat? Did it hit him? And he got into sort of an argument with the umpire. He was trying to explain himself. Then he realized he doesn't speak English. The interpreter had to come out. He had to tell the interpreter what to tell the umpire. I've never seen that before.
Right. Well, they botched that play because it's not reviewable. I think that's the play you're referring to, where they said it hit him. Yeah. Well, they said the ball hit him and he swung. So there's 2 strikes. He was trying to get out of the way, but his momentum took him around as if it was a swing. So the umpires, told Bo Mel, well, the ball hit him. Normally would go to first base, but if you take a swing on a third strike and you get hit, the swing overrides getting hit by the pitch and you're out. The only problem is the ball hit the bat, and that's what he was trying to tell him. He didn't get hit. So it should have been a foul ball, and he'd still be hitting. But it is not reviewable, which I don't understand. Look, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, we have these instances where you can't review a play like that. Why? I mean, we're stopping the game constantly for reviews. Let's get it right. So why not have that reviewable? That question of what happened would have been resolved a lot quicker just by going to review than having the umpires get together and everybody argue about this and argue about that. So I think that should be reviewable.
Yeah, and plus common sense. If he got hit on the hand, if that hit him, he would have jumped up and screamed and his hand would have been, in trouble. But he never reacted that way, so it must have hit the bat.
You're exactly right. The trainer didn't have to go out and, a friend of ours, Eddie Montague, used to say that all the time, right? I'd ask him questions, even I do now in the press box when I see him. Eddie, what about this play? And he goes, well, I always just like to use common sense. That's the word that he used, just like you, common sense. So that's a great point, Marty.
Yeah, it didn't look kosher to me. It just didn't look right. That was it.
I agree. It was not kosher. Great analogy right there. Yes.
It just wasn't kosher. All right. One last thing that I wanted to mention with you. There was a great historical note, and I know you appreciate these things. You ever see a player get hit twice in the same inning? You ever see that? They bat around and a guy gets hit twice?
I don't believe so. I doubt it, but I don't recall.
Yeah, it's only happened a couple of times in baseball history. And it was the anniversary of yesterday. A pitcher, Willard Schmidt, who pitched for the Reds in 1959, got hit in an inning, and they batted around. The Reds did, with Frank Robinson and Vada Pinson and all these great hitters. And he came up, he got hit again. And that's the only time it happened. How about that?
Wow. I mean, that's so well. Only you, Marty. You got to break more of these out. I love hearing them, and I know your listeners do as well. Great trivia question. I might use that at a party sometime.
The original Frank Thomas, he got hit twice in one inning, too. But Willard Schmidt,
did?
Yeah, later on he did, too. But
okay.
But Schmidt was the pitcher who got hit twice by the Braves. Lou Burdette and Bob Rush, good pitchers, hit him. So that's my Sunday morning baseball with you.
Well, that makes it worse, doesn't it, that it's a pitcher getting hit twice? I would have never guessed it was a pitcher getting hit twice. You know what? You don't want to hit the pitcher. You want to get him out, right? If the pitchers can't hit, he's the weakest guy in the lineup. Just get him out. And he got hit twice. What are the odds of that?
I love it. All right. Well, have a good Sunday, and we got the Rockies next weekend, so we got plenty to talk about next weekend.
Look forward to it. Keep up the good work, Marty.
All right, well, take care. And there's the Professor Glenn Kuiper coming up next right here in the Sports Leader as we continue our Giants warm-up.
Giants fans. First pitch isn't too far away as KNBR's Giants warm-up continues on the sports leader.
All right, nice to have you back with us as we welcome in Glenn Kuiper this morning. Glenn, how are you?
I'm good, Marty. How are you?
Good, very good. I'm glad to have you with us. How did your show go Friday night? Kuiper Baseball at the Gotham Club. How'd it go?
Yeah, it was great. We had so much fun. Dwayne and I, we weren't sure what to expect. It was our first show. It was an idea we came up with the Giants, and to do a post-game show after every Friday night home game live from the Gotham Club. It's called Friday Night Kipes. And, Dwayne and I walked in, and the dining room was packed. I mean, there was people standing, and the room was just jammed with people, super excited, for the show. And it was great. It meant a lot to both of us. And once we started, I mean, how can you go wrong, Marty? We had Mike Krukow, Will Clark, and Dave Dravecki as our guests. So there you go, right? You're going to have fun no matter what. So we told stories, and we laughed, and it was great. So every Friday night home game will be post game at the Gotham Club, and so we think it's kind of a cool idea. We hope it continues to grow. I think it would be a great show to somewhere put on social media, to be honest with you. But right now it's just for the Gotham Club members, obviously, and the people from the Gotham Club. Steven and Joey and Christy, they've been great. So all good, Marty. And, we're going to expect you to come up there and join us one of these Friday nights when you're in town.
Absolutely. Well, you'll be at the bottom of the barrel by the time you get me up there.
I don't think so.
Come on. You got good guests. And how long did the show go for?
Oh, gosh. It does get a little late. I want to say it was probably 45 to 50 minutes. And listen, you start telling stories, and you get three former teammates, Mike, Will, and Dravecki going. Well,
wow.
they could tell stories all night. So we covered those fun Giants teams from the 80s, and talk about locker room stuff and fights that the Giants got in with the Cardinals, and so we hope the good members of the Gotham Club and everybody that was there. There was, some guests there. And, so, this Friday, Dave Fleming is going to come on, and, we're working on the Giants player. And then on the 16th of May, which is when the A's will be in town, Marty, we got Will's going to be back in town, so he's going to come on. He can come on anytime he wants. And Dennis Eckersley is going to be on the show with us. So you got Will and Matt coming, so we're planning some fun stuff, and it's all good. Dwayne's been great. These guys are coming up after working, a game, so they're making a nice sacrifice too. So, and I appreciate that. But all good, and thanks for asking.
Fabulous. I'm glad that we could get you going, and that it's led to this, and I'm very happy we could do that. All right, let's talk Texas Rangers a little bit. You've seen this club that won a pennant, won a World Series. They don't look the same. They don't seem to hit as well. I know it's early. What's your take on the Rangers?
Yeah, a little strange, right? I mean, I like their lineup. And, again, I haven't seen them on a regular basis in a couple of years. But, they did win a World Series a couple of years ago. And you think about Marcus, and you think about, Seager, and they got a good young third baseman. And so it seems like they should be, a team that hits. But it may look like now, Marty, maybe I think they're still a decent offensive team, but maybe not getting off to the start they would like. But it could be a year where maybe they rely on pitching a little bit more. We'll see the lighter kid today, but DeGrom's back. Maley's been good. We saw him yesterday. Evaldi's very good. So maybe they have to switch gears a little bit and rely on that pitching. But yeah, it's strange to see a team with that many hitters. I mean, Garcia's a really good hitter. And the Langford kid, I love him. I mean, how can you not like the way he plays? So there's more there offensively. But, maybe it's a little bit more about pitching this year for Texas, that I could still see them being the best team in that AL West, which is pretty bunched up right now.
Giants had a good series against the Brewers. Brewers kicked it around a lot. Their bullpen didn't come through. Giants came back in games. Giants are coming back a lot, aren't they? Aren't they going down a lot and having to come back a lot?
Well, yeah. And I think it's the fact that, and we compare a lot to last year, whether that's fair or not, I don't know, but it's fresh in our minds where, you felt like if they got behind, they probably weren't going to come back. It's a whole different deal this year where you do feel like they just seem to grind out at bats and they don't get too worried about being down in the game. But, yeah, I think the question then is can you continue to do that? But if you have a feeling that you can come back in games, it's a big deal. It's pretty powerful, I think, because it's a team thing where you don't worry about getting down. So, and on top of that, Marty, it's fun for the fans. They got 4 walk-off wins this year, and a win is a win. But from a fan's perspective, is there anything better than a good walk-off? Fans love that stuff. So they do grind late in the game, which is a sign of a good team. But you don't want to be behind too often. But all in all, I like the way they battle, and that's I've said it before. That's a trait of a Bob Melvin team.
Yeah, you did. You said it last week. You reminded us about it last week. One last thought for you as we wrap it up. Kerry is ready to go. Patrick Bailey, Mark Simon pointed out in high leverage, high clutch situations, the guy's 6 for 13. Everything else, he's 1 for 60.
It's hard, Marty, because he has really struggled, and we saw him struggle for an extended period of time last year, and we're seeing it now at the beginning of the year. And when you struggle at the beginning of the year, it's a little more pronounced, right? People notice it because your batting average is in the 100s. But you got to pull for this guy because he's so good defensively that he's going to be in the lineup. This is not I don't know, Bailey's struggling, maybe we sit him for. No, he's so good defensively, he's going to be out there. And that's why him giving you some production offensively is such a big deal. And we don't know what kind of offensive player he's going to be yet, Marty. Is he a 15-homer, 60, 70 RBI guy, or is he a 8 or 9 homer, 50 RBI guy, right? We just don't know that yet. We haven't, seen enough of him maybe in his career. But he is very important to them offensively because he is going to be in that lineup. And, just yesterday, him getting a big hit, I think it was huge for his confidence. He has struggled so much in the early going, but it's also a long season, Marty, and let's let him have a little bit of a hot streak and see where he ends up after the slump and then the hot streak, and then let him settle in a little bit. But he's so good defensively that you have to run him out there almost every day. And let's hope he gets his confidence going a little bit. Because if that happens, then that offense is going to start to get better. The numbers are going to start to get better, and that can only help this team.
Well, it is a long season, so you're in the bingo. Take a drink in the Marty Lurie drinking game. It's a long season. All right, have a great Sunday. We'll talk to you next week. Take care, Glenn.
Thanks, Marty. See you, man.
All right, that is Glenn Kuiper. Kerry Crowley next, right here on our Giants warm-up. Have a good day, everybody.
seam heads, start cracking those peanuts and spitting those seeds, because gloves are soon to be popping.
He makes a headlong dive and makes the catch.
And bats are going to get cracking.
Blast one! Deep right field! Gone!
Welcome to KNBR's Giants Warm-Up.
Way back there! Goodbye!
On the sports leader.
We are back. Welcome into Giants Warm-Up, folks. My name is Kerry Crowley. A pleasure to be with you this morning. Getting you set for Giants baseball, game 3 of a 3-game set between your San Francisco Giants, the visiting Texas Rangers. Bruce Bochy's last day in town with the visiting ball club that he won a World Series with 2 years ago, and we've got a great matchup for you as Jordan Hicks takes the mound, looking to get things right against the young right-hander Jack Leiter, former Vanderbilt star, son of former Major League pitcher Al Leiter. Jack Leiter, an electric fastball, and the Giants will have to catch up to that at Oracle Park this afternoon. Thanks to Marty Lurie for hosting Talkin' Baseball this morning, and we've got a special edition of Giants Warm this morning as I'm with you for just a little bit. I'm the mid-reliever here, as Bill Lasky will be the closer for our Giants Warm-Up show. He will take you up through Giants pregame and get you set for Giants baseball on the radio. Bill, such an outstanding job on Extra Innings, and he will also host Extra Innings this afternoon. So 415-808-KNBR is the number. When this Giants game ends, when the postgame wrap is up, Bill will be around to take your phone calls on what's been a very exciting weekend in the world of Bay Area sports. The Giants won it on a walk-off on Saturday afternoon at Oracle Park. Patrick Bailey, the catcher, coming off the bench and punching really a pitch into right field, 56.6 miles per hour off of the bat. It brought home Elliot Ramos, and the Giants won that ball game 3-2 after a disappointing and frustrating 2-0 defeat on Friday night. The Giants have the opportunity to win back-to-back series on this homestand if they can get by the Texas Rangers this afternoon. So several things on my mind today as Giants baseball gets set here on the radio. And one of the first things is Patrick Bailey and his ability to come off the bench yesterday and deliver the timely hit that the Giants needed. Because let's all be honest, his approach at the plate this season has been lacking. There hasn't been someone at the catcher position, whether it's been Bailey or Sam Huff, who got the start in Saturday's ball game, who's inspired much confidence in the Giants' ability to get production out of that position. And obviously Sam gets the start yesterday, and he doesn't look all that comfortable at the plate. He's someone who obviously had the big double out to right center field. He's got some pop in his bat, but also there's some big holes in his bat. And I think that the Giants will take that production from the backup catcher spot, but they would really like to see Patrick Bailey get it going and producing at the levels that they know he can, that he has at different points during his Giants journey. Of course, May and June have been the best months of his career. I go back to 2023, 2024. He's had go-ahead home runs at Citi Field for the Giants in both of those seasons against tough New York Mets relievers. And I think that yesterday could be an opportunity for Patrick Bailey to start feeling some confidence. To me, he's looked better from the right side this season, switch hitting catcher. I think his approach from the right side has been a little bit more consistent. He often insides out looks to go the other way for these San Francisco Giants. And I think that that's an approach that can serve him well toward the bottom of the Giants batting order. Another thought that crossed my mind yesterday was Willie Adames driving home 2 runs against Tyler Mahle when the Giants were down 2-0 early in that ball game to even things up and help out the starting pitcher Robbie Ray. And I'll talk about Ray in a moment, but Willie Adames really needed that moment in yesterday's ball game. I think that he is someone who's been searching for it at the plate. He's wanted to make contributions to this Giants offense. It's really important for Willie Adames to be able to live up to that contract. And I think that yesterday with the Brandon Crawford ceremony, I read a great story from John Shea in the San Francisco Standard about Willie Adames and how he was paying close attention to the way that Giants fans honored the legendary shortstop. And obviously he was following along the video board at Oracle Park as the Giants played highlight after highlight of Crawford's sensational career over 13 seasons in a Giants uniform, and he knows how much a great shortstop can mean to this franchise. And so I think that Adames desperately wanted to come through yesterday. He's desperately wanted to come through all season. There's no doubt in my mind that he's someone who's putting a lot of pressure on himself. He goes 1 for 4, but the one hit, very big. The single up the middle gets that average up to 205. The slugging percentage still sitting down at 268 this season. A lot of room for improvement for Willie Adames left to go. But one thing that I will say, This is someone who now, through the first month of the season, yes, we played a month, as today's April 27th. Giants started back on March 27th in Cincinnati, Great American Ballpark against the Reds. Willy Adames has 14 runs batted in, and the Giants will take that clip. They need the on-base percentage to go up. They need the OPS to go up, but they will take 14 RBIs each month for this team, as that over the course of 6 months will be in the high 80s, and the Giants could really use that kind of production from a guy who's hitting at or near the top of the order all season long. He's been in the 2 spot for Bob Melvin. I don't anticipate that will change all that much for this ball club. And I think that the sooner that Adames can get going, the sooner the Giants, at 18-10 in first place in the National League West, by the way, can reach their full potential. And then the third guy who I wanted to talk about was Robbie Ray, who I was very impressed with on Saturday afternoon, and particularly impressed by Ray's ability to be economical with his pitch count. This was really the first time this season we've seen Ray attack the strike zone with regularity. 97 pitches in 7 innings on Saturday against this Rangers lineup that's obviously got a number of struggling hitters, but still some very capable guys. And Ray goes 7 innings, 5 hits, just 1 walk, and finishes with 8 strikeouts. And I thought that yesterday was an important outing that Ray can build upon. And what I really like moving forward for the San Francisco Giants is that was game 16 of 17 in this 17-game and 17-day stretch with no off days. So the Giants will have Monday off, then play Tuesday and Wednesday in San Diego, and then they're off on Thursday. So Robbie Ray could go 7 innings, understanding that he won't pitch until next weekend when the Giants are back at Oracle Park. And I think that that's a very important development for Robbie Ray because, of course, he had Tommy John surgery 2 years ago. The Giants and Bob Melvin want to be cautious, but at the same time, they also need to let Ray loose. He needs to be more economical with the pitch count so that he can get deeper into ball games, so that he can get that extra up after the 6th inning and try to get the Giants to 21 outs in each start. And I think that yesterday was a sign of progress for Ray with the way that he was able to throw that fastball. Saw a lot of swings and misses with the breaking ball from Robbie Ray and really set up the Giants bullpen nicely. They had to go to Tyler Rogers in the 8th inning and then Ryan Walker in the 9th inning. And Walker allowed the first 2 runners to reach base, but really settled down and got some ugly swings and misses. That was the Ryan Walker that Giants fans have come to know and love. His ERA on the season through the first month sitting at 5.91. But after picking up the win in yesterday's ball game, I think that the work that he put in each of his last 2 appearances should inspire some confidence in Giants fans that what you saw last weekend against the Angels when he blew up for the 4-run 9th inning, and what you saw on, I believe, Tuesday evening against the Milwaukee Brewers when Camilo Doval had to come in and rescue the Giants and close out a win where the Giants had a 4-0 lead entering the 9th. Walker had given up 2 runs. He had 2 runners in scoring position. It was all sorts of a mess, and then they had to call on Camilo Doval to get themselves out of that jam. And so seeing Walker come out the last 2 times, he has really looked sharp. Of course, yesterday didn't start that way, but I think when you're a reliever and you're able to get through a situation like that, Giants obviously could not afford a run to cross, and they wanted to give a number of relievers. Eric Miller, Randy Rodriguez, get Spencer Bivens and Hayden Birdsong another day of rest. That was really important to this ball club, and they were able to do so. So they come into today's game, the rubber match against the Texas Rangers, I think ready to unleash Hayden Birdsong out of the bullpen if needed. Obviously, Jordan Hicks is the starter. You want to see him go 5, 6, maybe even 7 innings if the pitch count is able to be kept down, if he's able to throw that fastball and split finger combo with effectiveness. But if he struggles in the 3rd or the 4th inning, in a 17-game and 17-day stretch, your bullpen is typically exhausted. I do believe that Bob Melvin has the ability today to go to Hayden Birdsong, to maybe get Spencer Bivens for an inning or 2, and then Lou Trevino as well. The Giants should have some of their better relievers at their disposal, and maybe, just maybe, Camilo Doval could be the guy in the 9th inning this evening, as he's now had back-to-back days of rest for the San Francisco Giants to kick off this series against the Texas Rangers, who fell to 15-12 yesterday. Still a strong bet in the American League West. I like Bruce Bochy's ball club, but the San Francisco Giants sitting at 18-10 right now, 8-4 at Oracle Park. Really the opportunity to make a statement for this ball club. And speaking of statements, a few other players that I just wanted to touch on real quick. Very impressed yesterday with Mike Yastrzemski, who improves to a 278 average, a 400 on-base percentage, a 506 slugging percentage, good enough for a 906 OPS with another 2-for-4 day. Yastrzemski just looks so solid at the plate right now. The foundation that he's got in the left-handed batter's box, I think that you are seeing someone who's locked in, age 34 years old, and has not lost a step at all as he's gotten into probably the latter stages of his major league career. I know that he's in the final year of arbitration eligibility, but this is someone who didn't make their major league debut until they were 28 years old. And Yastrzemski will be a free agent this offseason, and he's making a compelling case that he deserves, if not a one-year deal, maybe a multi-year deal from whoever signs him. And I would imagine that if he keeps this pace up, the Giants and Buster Posey might be interested in bringing Mike Yastrzemski back. He's been a catalyst atop this lineup. I think that that's been very important for the San Francisco Giants. I think it's worth pointing out that Jung Hoo Lee 1 for 4 yesterday, still hitting .327 on the season. He just has a hit in every ball game. This is someone who the Giants can count on with regularity to do damage, give you one of the most professional at-bats in this lineup. I think that that's incredibly important and pivotal for this team throughout the course of the season. Having someone in the 3 spot, particularly with Willie Adames struggling in the 2 spot in the order, that they know that they can count on for those tough, grinded out at-bats. And also, I do want to credit the bottom of the Giants lineup with Christian Koss going 1 for 3 yesterday, Sam Huff going 1 for 3. I think that Bob Melvin came into that ball game understanding that Koss and Huff were probably not going to be the offensive catalysts. They were in there to give guys a day off, get Tyler Fitzgerald a blow. He had a chest contusion, so he was out at second base yesterday. Sam Huff obviously called upon to get Patrick Bailey off his feet for the day game following the night game, the routine that you often see with catchers around Major League Baseball. But Koss and Huff were part of that big rally that the Giants had early in the ball game, and then leading Willie Adames to that 2-run single. And then, of course, it was Koss who laid down a bunt in the 9th inning that allowed the Giants to take advantage of an opportunity, get Elliot Ramos over to third base, get Lamont Wade Jr. up to second base, and then, of course, Bob Melvin off of the bench, going to Patrick Bailey, the switch hitter. And on the first pitch that Patrick Bailey saw against the left-handed reliever Latz, he punched one into right field past the first baseman. Jacob Latz takes the loss, a tough luck loss for the Texas Rangers left-hander. But the Giants, in my opinion, deserved to win that ball game. Robbie Ray threw so well. He outdueled Tyler Mahle, in my opinion. Giants had 3 runs on 11 hits. The Rangers 2 runs on just 8 hits. So a testament to what they were able to accomplish at the plate yesterday. And I think that that bodes well moving forward for today's ball game against Jack Leiter, who we know is tough, just a .9 ERA entering today's ball game. But of course, Tyler Mahle had a .68 ERA entering yesterday's ball game. The Giants had plenty of opportunities in the early innings before Willie Adames finally cashed in with that 2-run single in the bottom of the 5th. So very encouraging for the San Francisco Giants. They sit alone at 18-10 in the National League West, atop that division right now, with the Padres and the Dodgers trailing closely behind. Savor this moment. You never know how long a day like this is going to last. But, if you told me back on March 27th when this season began that a month into the year the Giants would be in first place, I would not have believed you. So it's a testament to what these guys have done in the comeback wins. Yet another 2-run comeback yesterday. I believe the Giants have at least 6 this season in terms of their 18 wins. So really strong work. I just want to keep you updated on scores around Major League Baseball as well before we send things over to our podcast with Connor Grossman. But some scores from yesterday. The Detroit Tigers won Game 1 of their doubleheader against the Baltimore Orioles 4-3. Casey Mize took the win in that ballgame. The Cleveland Guardians went down early but came back to win over the Boston Red Sox in Game 1 of their doubleheader in yesterday's ballgame. Very impressive work from the Guardians to claw their way back and win that one. They ultimately fell 7-3 in Game 2 as Walker Buehler of the Boston Red Sox outdueled his opponent in that one for Cleveland. And then the Detroit Tigers actually sweeping that doubleheader. They're now 17-10. What a story. 12-3 at home are the Detroit Tigers as Riley Green hit a big 3-run home run to win that second ball game 6-2. Charlie Morton really struggling out of that Baltimore rotation. I thought that the Giants could have looked at Morton this offseason. Instead, they went with Justin Verlander. And for as difficult as some of Justin Verlander's outings have looked, the ERA did creep under 5 with the 6 innings of 2-run ball that he threw on Friday evening against these Texas Rangers. Charlie Morton right now, someone the Giants also could have looked at for veteran experience with a 1-year deal. His ERA up over 10 for the Baltimore Orioles right now. So Buster Posey making the right decision right there, bringing in the future Hall of Famer at 42 years old. Minnesota Twins won 5-1 over the Angels yesterday. Simeon Woods-Richardson took the win. Yusei Kikuchi getting lost. The St. Louis Cardinals won in the late innings. Nolan Arenado home run to walk it off as Ryan Helsley picked up the win over the Milwaukee Brewers, who now fall to 13-15 after a very rough week. They had 3 of 4 taken from them, of course, here at Oracle Park, and then they lose the first 2 of the series to the Cardinals. The Reds defeated the Colorado Rockies 6-4. Austin Hayes, 2 home runs. Hunter Green, outstanding again. Emilio Pagan gets the save. Green, 3-2, 2.7 ERA. The Giants know him well. The Rockies, 4-22 on the young season. Phillies won 10-4 going away over the Chicago Cubs. Jesus Luzardo, brilliant in that one. Max Kepler hit a big home run for Philadelphia at Wrigley Field. The White Sox won won 10-3 going away over the Athletics in Sacramento. Once again, almost said Oakland, as those longtime listeners to this program know that I've been keen to do. Mets won 2-0 over the Nationals in our nation's capital. Clay Holmes was outstanding. Francisco Alvarez homered, and Edwin Diaz picked up save number 7 for the boys from Queens. Royals won 2-0 over the Astros, who've been having a really difficult time at the plate of late. Michael Wacha the win, Framber Valdez the loss, Carlos Estevez with the save, and Vinny Pasquantino 412-foot home run in that one. How about my favorite result of the day? The Atlanta Braves winning 8-7 over the Arizona Diamondbacks, final in 10 innings. It was my favorite result because Eugenio Suarez became the third baseball player in Major League history to hit 4 home runs and have his team lose. 4 solo shots for Eugenio Suarez as the Diamondbacks fall in 10 innings. Austin Riley made just a sensational game-ending play in the bottom of the 10th to close things out for Dylan Lee, the pitcher of record there, getting the save. Raisel Iglesias, the typical closer for Atlanta, got the win in that one. Rays beat the Padres 4-1. Padres offense has cooled off significantly of late. No Jake Cronenworth, no Jackson Merrill, and Manny Machado was robbed of a home run by Chandler Simpson, the young outfielder, who's just electric in center field for the Tampa Bay Rays. Padres fall to 17-10. Dodgers improved to 17-10 with their 8-4 win over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Kirby Yates gets the win in that one, as it was Kike Hernandez who had a big 3-run home run late. Teoscar Hernandez also homering for the Dodgers. And then one more score to tell you about. The Mariners won 14-0 over the Miami Marlins yesterday. Luis Castillo, a pretty easy win for the Mariners ace, as he improves to 3-2 with a 3.62 ERA on the season. 14 runs on 15 hits for the Seattle Mariners. On the other side, little Giants Postcards podcast for you as I catch up with my friend Connor Grossman. And then, of course, Bill Lasky will be here the rest of the way to take you through on our Giants pregame show. It's Giants warm-up here on KNBR. You're listening to KNBR 104.5, 680, the sports leader.
KNBR Giants warm-up keeps rolling on the Sports Leader.
We are back here on Giants Warm-Up. Kerry Crowley hanging out with you this morning. We've got the three-man weave going as we get you set for Giants baseball. Marty Lurie kicked us off with Talkin' Baseball. Bill Lasky will wrap up Giants Warm-Up for us, and I've got you here for the middle portion of our Giants pregame show on Sunday morning. A massive week here at the Leader. Appreciate everyone who tuned into our NFL draft coverage on Thursday evening as the 49ers took Michael Williams out of the University of Georgia, added on the defensive line with Alfred Collins in the second round on Thursday. They also took Nick Martin in the third round, Upton Stout, which is just an incredible name with that compensatory selection, 100th overall. So we will have a ton of 49ers breakdowns for you over the course of the next week following this draft weekend. And of course, this evening, I think we may hear an appearance from John Dickinson at some point on the KNBR airways, maybe after Bill Lasky. I'm not sure. Maybe JD is just getting set to go live from Harmonic following Monday night's Golden State Warriors matchup. But regardless, JD has been all over the airwaves this week, of course, following Game 3 on Saturday evening and then Game 4 on Monday. So I just know anytime I turn on the KNBR airwaves nowadays, I can pretty much count on John Dickinson breaking down the Golden State Warriors and this playoff journey that they are on right now. So one of the things that I want to do, and we do this pretty much every Sunday here on KNBR now, is my good friend Connor Grossman, who writes the great Giants postcards Substack. It's a newsletter. You get it in your email inbox every morning. I would encourage everyone to subscribe to Connor's Substack. He and I get together about once a week, and we tape a podcast, our Giants Postcards podcast. We discuss our favorite thing that we saw this week, our least favorite thing that we saw this week from the San Francisco Giants, and some major trends around the team. And, I think that the Brewers series served as a great template for us. Didn't touch on a whole lot of Texas Rangers series as Connor and I got together on Friday evening and recorded our podcast, but I do want to play some snippets for it because I think it gives you a window into a week in the life of the San Francisco Giants, a week in the life of following this baseball team and everything that comes up over the course of a 162-game season. There's some dilemmas over at first base, of course, some questions about who should be in the rotation, the bullpen hierarchy under Bob Melvin, and so I always have a lot of fun with Connor Grossman. Today marks the 17th game in 17 days for the San Francisco Giants. They will finally have an off day on Monday, but of course, Connor and I got together and discussed the rigors of this stretch, the challenges that the Giants have embarked on, and really where this team stands through about the first month of the regular season. So without further ado, Connor, 17 games in 17 days.
With the 17 games in 17 days, I'm like, yeah, that's tough at any part of your schedule, but probably better off than not having it happen at the beginning of the season versus August. And also, to your point about building up this early season cushion, that's kind of what inspired the text that, again, I almost sent, and then they won. And I was like, hey, maybe they're not 500-ish after all. But it's almost like they are experiencing the benefit of getting off to this hot start, where even when and if they do revert to the mean, yeah, maybe that still means they win somewhere in the high 80s in terms of number of games, and that could be good enough. So I don't know. It's just a surprisingly messy situation for a team that has, again, the second most wins in baseball. It's bizarre. So with that, we will, as we always do, get into the best and worst of what we saw in the last week. And we're going to keep the negative tone going over here. And I'm going to pick that low-hanging fruit for the worst thing I saw this week, and it was Ryan Walker against the Angels.
Oh, this is so bad.
It's so bad. He enters with a 4-1 lead. The Giants are 3 outs from taking 2 of 3 to a team that they should take 2 of 3 from. And the inning starts with a full count pitch to Mike Trout, a hanging slider at the top of the zone that Trout takes, and you're waiting for the ump to ring him up. He says ball 4, and that's the first shoe to drop. And you're probably, I wasn't thinking much of it, it's leadoff base runner, 4-1 lead, whatever. But then it just unraveled so quickly from there. And you get, a walk and a hit and another hit and a hit batsman, and just it completely unraveled so quickly. And you could feel it. You could just feel the unraveling happen. You could feel the lead just being slowly dissolved, and like in the way that you can feel momentum in football on a long drive or in basketball during a sustained scoring run. That is one of those few times in baseball where I think you can just feel it all melting down if you're the Giants, or your momentum building if you're the Angels? Like, do you feel me on the momentum thing?
100%. And I felt it in the moment because everyone was fired up about the pitch that Ryan Walker, in theory, should have had a strike called on Mike Trout, and it should have been strike 3. Here's the issue for me on something like that. You've got a 3-run lead. It's not like this is a 1-run ball game and one leadoff walk is going to do you in. It's a pitch that if he swings at it, Mike Trout's probably hitting it 450 feet.
Yeah.
And if you can't get yourself out of that situation, you don't deserve to win the game. Like, the Giants didn't deserve to win that game. He wasn't close to coming up with the save. It wasn't like they were down to 2 outs when the Angels had the walk-off double down the left field line. He threw a hanging breaking ball in that situation. There were 2 strikes. It was a full count. And it was such a disastrous outing that inspired very little confidence in the Giants' ability to shut the door. And I'm thinking all along, okay, well, if Walker can't get the job done, it's not like I trust Camilo Doval. And then over the last week, Camilo has morphed into like the Camilo 2023, where he doesn't give up hits anymore. So I have no idea how that happened. But hey, Giants will take that.
I guess, and we'll get into the closer controversy, if you want to call it that, a little bit later, the messy situation. But the last thing I want to say about the blown save, it's something I thought about last year when I was writing my newsletter, and I think Doval blew it against the Pirates. And it just dawned on me that at the start of every season, as a fan, you sign up for a lot of things. You sign up for some blowout wins, blowout losses, and you also sign up for some crushing, gut punch, kick in the nuts defeats, where you just know no matter what, whether you're the Rockies or the Dodgers or any team in between, you're gonna get kicked in at the last possible moment, and it's just gonna hurt, and it's gonna feel like the world's ending, and it's gonna suck. And that's exactly what it felt like against the Angels. A 4-1 lead, a team you should beat, your closer that's been completely fine, and that is underselling it. He's been really good at that point. I think he had converted like 15 straight save opportunities. And you know what? You know what's coming, and it still hurts. And it was punctuated by one of my favorite Dwayne Kuiper-isms, which is simply when he says, unbelievable. And unbelievable from Kuip, just for whatever reason, it just hits me a little bit different. Just punctuates a moment that you're already feeling like, well, can't believe that happened. And then he says it, and I'm like, yep, that'll be that.
That is very well said. And it is such the understated unbelievable at the end.
Right.
He's just expressing it on behalf of everyone who just watched this game. It's really one of the best qualities of Dwayne Kuiper, even if it comes 10 times a season and you hate hearing it as a fan.
Right. Oh, I will say, just to jump in quickly, his best ever unbelievable was the infamous Ryan Spielborg's grand slam, when his home run call was, "This is not good, folks," which is already like the highest level of an unbelievable. And then as Spielborg's is rounding the bases like a little kid who hit his first ever home run, he says just an elongated unbelievable. And that just perfectly encapsulated how we all felt.
All right, he is Connor Grossman, and that is our San Francisco Giants Postcards podcast, which we get together and do every week. You can also check out the full episode. We go about an hour each week in your podcast feeds, wherever you get your podcast. Connor Grossman, who writes the great Giants Postcards podcast, always have a lot of fun talking with him, breaking down Giants baseball, and of course, having him on the KNBR airwaves here. So I am Kerry Crowley. This show is Giants Warm-Up. I am preparing to pass the microphone off to Bill Lasky, the big right-hander who does a tremendous job hosting extra innings on the weekends. You can hear him on Sportsphone KNBR on select weekdays as well. Bill's going to take it from here and get you set for Giants baseball. First pitch coming your way, 1:05 from Oracle Park, as the Giants send Bruce Bochy and their Texas Rangers on their way out of town. Giants have that coveted off day on Monday, and then it's off to San Diego. Another big week in the world of Giants baseball. I'm Kerry Crowley. You're listening to Giants Warm-Up here on KNBR 104.5, 680, the sports leader.
Seam heads, start cracking those peanuts and spitting those seeds, because gloves are soon to be popping.
He makes a headlong dive and makes the catch.
And bats are going to get cracking.
Blast one! Deep right field! Gone!
Welcome to KNBR's Giants Warm-Up.
Way back there. Goodbye!
On the Sports Leader.
Welcome in. My name is Bill Lasky on the three-man weave from Marty to Carey to me, and we'll take you up to that first pitch at 1:05 when the San Francisco Giants are going to try to take their sixth series if they win today. Of course, they won yesterday in dramatic part of the final part of the ninth inning when Patrick Bailey got a key hit, and they got to walk it off in a sensational day yesterday, starting with a fantastic ceremony the San Francisco Giants did for Brandon Crawford. A lot of his ex-teammates were there, front office, and his family and relatives. It was just a joyous time, and we got to listen to it right here on KNBR, which was great. Didn't get to watch it on TV as Fox had the game, but Dave Fleming did an outstanding job as the host, and we got to listen to it here. So some good times yesterday at the ballpark, and let's make it again today a good time. The Giants again hosting the Texas Rangers. They're 18-10 going into today's game. They're 4-2 on this homestand. Overall, 8-4 at home. They're on the road at 10-6. This fabulous road team so far. 10-4 against Interleague, and I think that's so important when you're looking at what they did against the American League when you're playing the Yankees and now the Rangers, two top teams in their divisions. And finally, after a 17-game stretch, the Giants are finishing out today. They're 9-7 in 16 games with one left before they get their first off day on Monday. Can you believe that? 9-7, just some good numbers. And what I like about this team right now, they are really hitting the right-handed pitchers, and today they can do it again. They're 16-3 against right-handed starters, and that is a huge mark, especially going against Jack Leiter today. We'll give you the lineups in a minute, but I want to try to start off the show today with the home run of the week. It was a fabulous home run hit on Thursday, and that's sponsored by Pacific Catch, the Bay's finest seafood destination. Here it is.
3-2 pitch. Yastrzemski, a swing here and a high fly ball right field. Frelick back. He's at the track. At the wall. It is gone! Mike Yastrzemski with a towering fly ball out to straightaway right, and it had just enough over the high wall. It's his fourth home run of the year, a solo shot which ties this game at 2.
That came on Thursday when the Giants ended up beating the Milwaukee Brewers 6-5. They took 3 out of 4 games against the Brewers, and now they get an opportunity to take 2 out of 3 from the Texas Rangers. Hey, joining me in a few minutes, Randy Winn and I sit down, and we're going to talk to Randy. Of course, he's now the Vice President of Player Development. First time I got to talk to Randy since he's taken this over. You'll enjoy this. This is going to be coming up in a few minutes, but let's take a look at the lineups that both Bruce Bochy and Bob Melvin put out there today. Let's take a look at the Texas Rangers right off the bat. It's funny because I was looking at this lineup, and Wyatt Langsford, the young 22-year-old and just power hitter, is not in the lineup. And I kind of like that idea when Bruce Bochy's giving him a day rest on the third game of a series. Okay, let's start off. The shortstop, Josh Smith, is leading the way. He's hitting .328 for the Rangers with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. Batting second, playing first base, Jake Berger. He's had 3 home runs and 11 RBIs. He's only hitting .171. Of course, we know who this is, Jock Peterson. He is going to DH for the Rangers today, 5 for 65 on this young season. .077 batting average for Jock Peterson. Adolis Garcia is hitting fourth. He's playing right field. 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, hitting only .209. These numbers are correct, fans. This Ranger team is struggling in the batting averages. Marcus Semien, an all-star for so many years, is playing second base, hitting fifth. He's hitting .146 with 2 home runs and 10 RBIs. Josh Jung is hitting sixth, and he is playing third base at .275, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. Jonah Heim is doing a catching today. He's hitting .248. 4 home runs and 8 RBIs. Dustin Harris playing left field today. He's hitting .250 with 1 home run, 1 RBI. And then Leota Tavares is playing center field, 1 home run and 200 as a batting average. So that's Smith, Berger, Peterson, Garcia, Semien, Jung, Heim, Harris, and Tavares. That is the lineup for the Texas Rangers. Bob Melvin's lineup starting off right off the bat. You heard him. He hit that home run on Thursday. Mike Yastrzemski hitting .278, leading off and hitting 4 home runs, 13 RBIs. Willie Adames with a nice key hit yesterday to drive in 2. He's playing shortstop. He's hitting .205 with 1 home run, 14 RBIs. Jung-Hoo Lee hitting third, playing center field, .327, 16 RBIs with 3 home runs. Matt Chapman hitting fourth, of course, playing third base. And, man, he's just made some dynamic plays on this homestand. .221 batting average, 5 home runs, 16 RBIs. Wilmer Flores hitting that designated hitter role once again, .255 on the season, 27 RBIs with 7 home runs. Elliot Ramos with a nice key hit leading off the bottom of the ninth yesterday. He's hitting .234, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. He's in left field. Lamont Wade Jr. back on first base. He's hitting $114, 1 home run, 8 RBIs. Patrick Bailey back behind the plate today. Of course, with that walk-off base hit to win the game yesterday, he's hitting .171 with 9 RBIs. And Christian Koss back in there playing second base, giving Fitzgerald another day off. He's 4 for 20, hitting .200. So that's Yastrzemski, Adames, Lee, Chapman, Flores, Ramos, Wade, Bailey, and Koss. My name's Bill Lasky. This is the warm-up show. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Randy Winn, the Vice President of Player Development, right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
Welcome back to our KNBR Giants warm-up on the Sports Leader.
Welcome back to the KNBR warm-up show with Bill Lasky. My guest today played 13 seasons in Major League Baseball. In 2002, he was an American League All-Star with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. In the 5 seasons when he wore in the orange and black uniform, he hit .290, 51 home runs, 73 stolen bases. Let's welcome in the Vice President of Player Development, Randy Winn. Randy, how are you today?
Hi, Bill. I'm great. How are you?
Oh, good to hear you, my friend, and a lot of good things happening with the San Francisco Giants. And I think fans don't understand the foundation and the steps that you have done to become Vice President of Player Development. And I want to throw a couple of these things to you. In 2013, you were the roving instructor for outfielders and base running. In 2017, a special assistant to the general manager, Bobby Evans. And then you jumped into professional scouting with Zach Menazen, and that was in 2019. A lot of bricks in the foundation of learning from being a player to now in baseball operations. Can you give me some thoughts on these things?
Yeah, I can. I honestly, when I was playing, I told myself, when I'm done and I take off this uniform, I want to get as far away from this crazy game as humanly possible. It's tortured me. I'm dealing with sliders and splits, just trying to hit from both sides of the plate. I'm done. But I came back and I ran into Brian Sabian, and Sabe said, "Hey, Randy, if there's ever anything you wanted to do in the game, give me a call or let me know." And honestly, at that time, I had just had my last go at it, and it was clear that I was done playing, and I was in the mindset of wanting to get far away, but that was too good an offer, so I was smart enough not to say anything right then. Mm-hmm. I called Sabes later. He put me in touch with Bobby, and those are really the guys that brought me back into baseball. And what I realized after taking some time away from the game is that I actually really liked the game. I just didn't play it just to play it. I didn't play it because I was just good at it or to make money. I actually really liked the game. And so getting away and coming back, and those guys allowing me to come back into minor league baseball, put the uniform back around, be around some young kids, mentor some young kids, talk about what I know, my experiences from playing outfield to running bases, to stealing bases, to understanding game situations, and even just kind of like life, like dealing with all the failure that you deal with in this crazy game was awesome. And I haven't probably done it enough to thank those guys for the opportunity to bring me back in. You mentioned all the things that I did. They were great. They even let me do TV with you, Bill. Like, that was part of the deal. Like, when I talked to Brian, I was like, Brian, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I've never looked at this other side of the game. I just looked like between the white lines and had my head down and was focused on what I needed to do. And they were really gracious and really open. The whole Giants organization, actually. And so I was able to do TV and all the things that you mentioned on the field. And you're right, it was a slow process to where I am now. That was never the goal. That's not kind of what my plan was, but this is where I've ended up, and I'm really enjoying myself.
Well, Randy, as you say, player development, I always understood when I was playing, and back in my day, some older players would come in, and of course we were locked in with Willie Mays, McCovey, Marichal. We were very blessed when I played, when those guys would come in our clubhouse, and I always thought that was always something that players needed, to hear some input from ex-players, especially a player like you that had a great, successful career. This is something that I always thought players should gravitate to. It works, and I think what you're doing right now, it's better for younger players to listen to you. What do you think about that?
Bill, I definitely agree, and I know Buster agrees as well. That's why he made it a priority to bring a lot of the former players back into spring training. I know the names have been thrown out there over and over, and I don't want to go through because I'll probably forget some guys, but. Just bringing back not only the history from the sense of guys that, have won here, but the history of baseball and the guys that have understood no matter what decade they played in, 80s, 90s, 2000s, the game is the game. And figuring out how to win that battle between pitcher and hitter, you know, from both sides, the mental side of it. How do you play the game? Like I said, dealing with failure, listening to some of the greats that have ever put on the orange and black and the ups and downs that they've been through. It really humanizes the game a little bit. I know that when I got traded over to the Giants, day one, I remember walking into the clubhouse, and, you know, you walked in the clubhouse, and to the right was Murph's office, and I look in there, and there's Willie Mays, and I'm like, what? Like, are we serious right now? He's just kind of hanging out. He's like right there. And then later in the day, Willie Mack's there, and, you know, not only was it the greats of the Giants, but, you know, they would talk to you. And, you know, they would call you by your first name, which I just thought was the coolest thing as, you know, growing up as a sports fan and a baseball fan. But I think that's necessary, to your point. Bringing guys that have played the game, guys that have meant something to the city, to the uniform. I think that's important. I think it's important for young players to listen to guys, to the struggles that they've gone through, whether it's on the field, off the field. And like I said before, I think it really humanizes the game. The game's hard enough. You know that. This game's hard. And so when you have guys that have been really successful, you can learn from them. And sometimes it's mechanical. A lot of times it's mental.
Big words right there, Randy, and it's so important for younger players to listen to the trials and tribulations of a career like you and other players that you talked about that Buster brought into spring training. And it's not as easy as they look on their baseball card and say, hey, wow, Randy Winn hit 284 lifetime in 13 seasons. That must be pretty easy, Randy. And you're like, no, not as easy as you think. But let's get on to a couple
and
other
Bill,
things.
I'm gonna say one other thing real quick, you know, and jumping back on this point. I look at what some of the older players did for me when I was a young player. Guys like Greg Vaughn, guys like John Flaherty, guys like Fred McGriff. Like, I don't know why Fred McGriff was so nice to me when I was young, but he was awesome. Like, he was Fred McGriff when I played with him, and I was just some kid who got called up. And he took time to talk to me and talk through like the mental side of hitting, and he'd let me in on kind of what he was thinking, and he took me out to more dinners than I can count. I can't even repay him, but he really taught me about being a professional, both on the field and off the field. And so when I got older, like, that was something that I tried to do to the younger players. And so, like, getting back to our earlier conversation, that's why I think it's so important. Like, I lived it, and I realized, like, watching the older players and listening to the older players and listening to them talk about hitting, or why they swung at a pitch, or, you know, what they were thinking in a situation. Maybe I couldn't execute it right then because maybe I didn't have the skills, maybe I didn't understand. But a couple years down the line, I was like, oh, I remember when Wade Boggs was talking about that. Now I get it, right? And I think that's really important, and that's why we're trying to bring guys that have been successful around the younger players for the mentoring aspect.
That voice you hear on the KNBR warm-up show is my good friend Randy Winn, the Vice President of Player Development. I want to talk about a couple of things. You talked about outfield and base running. Elliot Ramos is somebody that you mentored through A-ball, AA, AAA. What have you seen him in playing the corner position in left field, and what has he gotten better at? Because I believe in the first 2 years he was kind of questionable on some balls. Now, boy, he is so aggressive. He looks so much better in left field this year.
Yeah, I remember when he was a really young player in the Giants. That's when I was cruising around in uniform, and one of the things that really jumped out, he was playing center field then, was it was his jumps. He doesn't have like the greatest top end speed. Like, you're not going to say he's the fastest player in Major League Baseball, but when you see him go after a ball, it seems like he always gets there like really easy. And that was something that jumped out to me watching him play center field, was his anticipation and his breaks and his jumps. You mentioned early on, you know, we didn't really see that. Well, I mean, that's the growing pains of a young player. Like, everybody's timeline and everybody's journey is different. Some guys come up and they stick right away, you know, like a Buster Posey. Some guys go down once. Some guys have to go down twice. Some guys come up, have some success and fail. Like, everybody's journey is different. And so a lot of times the first snapshot we see of a player is not representative of who that player is. Like sometimes you have to go up and fail, and you learn something about yourself in the game, and then you come back a bit stronger, and that's what we're seeing in Ramos. And right now he looks confident. He looks confident at the plate. He looks confident in the field. It's really hard to, everybody thinks, okay, yes, I can play at the big leagues, but until you go up there and have a little bit of success, I think that kind of lets you relax and lets your full potential come out. And that's what we're seeing in Ramos. You're right. Like the way he attacks the ball, like on defense, he's like attacking the ball. Like his jumps, the way he explodes towards the ball is really impressive.
Oh, very impressive. And he seems more natural now in left field, going after balls over his shoulder and coming in. So many great catches off his ankle. One of the things that Buster Posey and Bob Melvin is putting in play a little bit more is base running, and you're one of the best. Over 200 stolen bases in your career. I love to see the aggressiveness. And the player I'd like you to talk about is Tyler Fitzgerald. He gets great jumps. Sprint speed is over the top. Well, what has made the Giants now saying, hey, we need to get some players in scoring position. We need to get better jumps on some of the stolen bases, and it's been working, and I love it. I do, and I think Giant fans are liking the aggressiveness. Your thoughts on that too, Randy?
Yeah, if we talk about Fitz, like specifically, you look at his skill set. It's something a lot of people dream about. He has power. We saw that last year, his ability to hit the ball out of the park. But one of the things that Bob Melvin talked about at the beginning of last season was his ability to change the game with his speed. And he got picked off a couple times early, and there's some chatter about base running. But once again, like confidence, like he's now the second baseman. He's had some success. Now he's confident. He's bunting, he's running, he's stealing. He's being encouraged to run and steal. And we're starting to see like all the things that were talked about him at the beginning of last year and how he could impact the ball club. We're starting to see the full package. Like last year for that spurt, we saw the power. Now we're starting to see the base running and the speed. But I think big picture, when you're talking about winning in our ballpark, you're really not going to outslug teams. So you've got to be able to score runs a whole bunch of different ways. I know there's been a lot of talk about situational hitting, which is very, very important. But I would put base running, situational base running, not just base stealing, but base running right up there with that. If you're going to be playing a lot of 2-1 ball games, low scoring ball games, late and tight, you're seeing closers and setup men and the high leverage, the elite guys, you're not going to be able to hit a ton of home runs off those guys. You've got to be able to score runs other ways. So base running to me is right up there equally as important as situational hitting. You can really take a lot of pressure off the guy behind you if you're going first or third. Make the job easier for the guy behind you to drive you in. So we're seeing that with Fitz. We're seeing that with a lot of guys that are trying to bunt and run and do the little things to get themselves into scoring position.
Couple more questions with Randy Winn on the Giants warm-up show here on KNBR. Let's dive into the minor leagues a little bit and just talk about some of the younger talent. Of course, everybody wants to talk about Bryce Eldridge and Carson Whisenhunt, but I want to talk about somebody younger than that. James Tibbs III. Something that I just saw in him in spring training, electric. He's just electric in speed, going after the ball and making great contact. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on this kid because I'm really impressed with him.
Yeah, well, coming into the year, I really hadn't seen our entire system. Obviously, I saw a lot of the guys that were at the upper levels that touched the major leagues, but have really tried to do a deep dive on the younger guys. And Tibbs is a guy that definitely stands out. Number one, from where he was drafted, his ability to hit. Arguably, you could say he was one of the top 2 to 3 hitters in all of college baseball. He's hit. He's always hit. He's off to a good start this year. I think what he does really well, and this is what he did well in college, is control the strike zone. He always puts together good at-bats. You see him. He has an idea of how to hit. He has a plan. He sticks to it. He doesn't chase. All the things where to put himself in a spot to get a good pitch on a consistent basis. You're not always going to get hits. That's hard. But, if you can eliminate that chase. One of my mentors, when you talk about hitting and you're going through a slump, like one of the first questions they would ask is, well, what are you swinging at? Right? It doesn't matter how your swing isn't broken if you're chasing balls out of the zone. It's what you're swinging at. And I think Tibbs is very, very good at controlling the zone and what he swings at. I don't think he's a guy that has light tower power or, blazing speed, but he does a lot of things really well. And I think the thing that, what got him drafted in his position was his ability to swing the bat.
Randy, last one for you. You're probably in every different city in every different week. You're looking at reports. How's the golf game going, Randy? You're one of the best golfers I know, and I mean, are you hitting the clubs at all?
What's that? What's golf? I used to know what that was, but not really right now. I enjoyed golfing. It was another challenge, just like trying to hit a baseball, equally as frustrating. But I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. It's been a lot of information. It's been a lot of catch up, but the reports and keeping an eye on our guys and talking with Kyle Haynes about kind of the big picture and our plan and what we're trying to do and match Buster's goal for what he sees in not only the organization but creating winning ball players has been really fun so far.
Well, Randy, I'm really happy for the new adventure you're doing. You're going to do a great job knowing you for the many years I have. And I just want to wish you good luck, and I'll see you down the road, my friend.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
That was Randy Winn on the KNBR Warm-Up Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
Bailey swings and lines one into right field. Things hit, and the ball game is over. Just like that. First ball swinging. Bailey with a soft liner right past first with Berger 35 feet off the line. He had no chance to get it, and the ball's first bounce was still on the dirt before hopping into right field and crossing the plate. Elliot Ramos and the Giants win it on Brandon Crawford Day in a walk-off.
We're getting you in the mood for a crazy crab sandwich, some garlic fries, a cha-cha bowl, and some orange and black baseball. KNBR's Giants warm-up keeps rolling on the sports leader.
Welcome back to the Giants warm-up show with Bill Lasky on a cloudy, overcast Sunday here in the Bay Area. The sun will be out in another hour as the Giants take on the Texas Rangers in the third game of a 3-game series. I want to thank Randy Winn for his time and a lot of insight that we'll bring up here in the next few minutes. 808 KNBR if you want to get on the phone lines. We do have the phone lines open. That's 415-808 KNBR. And I talked a little bit about some of the up prospects. And it's funny because today on the post-game show, extra inning post-game show, I sat down with Carson Whisenhunt. Of course, he's the second top prospect the Giants have, and he is pitching in Sacramento for the River Cats. And I caught up with him in El Paso where the River Cats are playing the Chihuahuas, a great minor league name, and that's the San Diego Padres AAA team. Right now, Carson Whisenhunt's pitching extremely well for the River Cats. He's 2-2 with a 2.7 earned run average. He's pitched 20 innings. He's given up 17 hits, 6 earned runs, only 1 home run. And these are the numbers that just kind of flash at you. 2 walks and 23 strikeouts. 23 strikeouts. And, of course, talking to him, we've talked about the changeup. The changeup is one of the premier pitches he's been throwing for years. But he's also diving in and throwing a slider. He's throwing a curveball still. That was his second pitch. But he's got the slider going now. And Spencer Bivens and him were talking in spring training, and Bivens is one of the nastiest sliders, the old no-dot slider that Sergio Romo threw, and he's starting to throw that more in his arsenal, and it's working. He said he needed a pitch to get right-handers out, and of course throwing that sweeper into the back foot to a right-hander is so devastating, as well as throwing it to an outside corner to a left-hander. So the slider is what he's working on, and the changeup is nasty, of course. Spencer Bivens said at one time, "It's disgusting. I don't know how hitters can even foul it off. It's such a good pitch." And diving back into what I was talking to Carson with, and he said he learned it in college. He was playing around with it, but he's starting to throw it a lot better and starting to hit spots with it. Throws it at any time of the count, throws it at different times, and he does throw a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. We keep forgetting about that pitch because it is a tough pitch when you're throwing that changeup. When you're spotting the ball coming out of the motion as Carson Whisenhunt does, when it comes out of his fingers, that's where you really are watching it as a hitter. It's where the release point is. And if you're throwing 96 and all of a sudden you're throwing an 88 to 85-mile-an-hour changeup, you can't adjust to that pitch. It is one of the best pitches of any minor league pitchers the Giants have, and it's working. When you're looking at a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, now a slider and a curveball and a changeup, then you look at these numbers, 2 walks and 23 strikeouts. Well, we'll see where Carson Whisenhunt goes. You'd love to have you listen to that interview tonight, and if you don't hear it, it'll be on the All KNBR podcast. The other guest I have tonight is J.P. Martinez. Of course, J.P. Martinez is now the new pitching coach. He was the assistant last year to Brian Price. And we got to dive in a little of his past, how to get to know a little bit about J.P. Martinez, where he's from and where he grew up, and how much knowledge he has on pitching. He was with the Minnesota Twins for many years, and he learned a lot. He was the minor league pitching coordinator. He was there for rehab. So a lot of the stuff that he knows now, he had that foundation with the Twins. And coming over here, he talks about Bailey, he talks about Price. He even talks about Gabe Kapler, giving him an opportunity to learn under these great pitching coaches. I think he's doing a fabulous job when you start dissecting this pitching staff. And we kind of walked and talked about the bullpen. And this bullpen, we've seen it in the last couple of weeks, how devastating it is. Starters going 4 or 5 innings, and then the middle relief comes in, and then again the 7, 8, 9 pitchers in the 9th inning. We talk about both of the short men. We talk about Walker and Duvall. And one thing J.P. Marty does is he speaks Spanish very fluently, and he says his relationship with Duvall has come on to a bit better and better each year. As we know, Camilo Duvall has a difficult time speaking English. So I think this is a big, big plus for J.P. Martinez. So 2 great interviews today in the extra inning post-game show. If you get a minute, if you want to come in, chime in, talk about it. And we'll have a lot of good conversation. Yesterday we had an hour and a half of phone calls. Of course, a lot about the Brandon Crawford ceremony as well as the game. 808 KNBR, if you want to get on the phone line, let's go to San Leandro and talk to Roy. Roy, you're on a pregame show. It's the warm-up show. How are you today?
Oh, pretty good, Bill. How's it going?
Doing good this morning. Of course, this is the last game of a 17-game stretch the Giants are on. They're doing really well. So far, they're 9-7. It's a good start.
Yeah, it is. And I watched the Giants are moving in the right direction, and it's awfully good to see, Bill, to see them moving in the right direction. Basically, I just wanted to say real quick that that first base job, that the Giants have, during the off season, that guy that played with Cincinnati, the Twins released him. His name is Ty something. I can't think of him, but he's playing with the Twins now. I think the Giants made a mistake because, like, if you notice, the Giants are susceptible to left-handed pitching.
They are.
And what I'm saying is that I'm not saying that he was going to turn out to be another Cepeda or Jack Clark or somebody like that, but I am saying that he would have kind of offset that a little bit because, with the power he's showing with the Twins and the RBIs and stuff, he would have been good for the job and they could have split duties between him now.
Yeah, Roy, I understand what you're saying. Of course, being released or being outrighted by the Reds and then Minnesota picking him up. Buster's looking at all different things. All their scouts are looking at different possibilities. They wanted to stay within, and of course, Lamont Wade Jr. just getting off to a tough start here. And they also had Wilmer Flores dialed in because Encarnacion was going to be the DH. Now Flores is the DH. Casey Schmidt gets hurt, of course. And, it's just opportunities now for the next guy, and it's David Villar, who hit the ball really well in Sacramento. I think that's a position they're looking at. I think it's a position they're going to keep their eyes on if something else comes up. But right now, when you're looking at a team that's 18-10, sometimes you got to look at some of those players and say, okay, give them a little bit more time. Give them a couple more at-bats. When you're looking at Lamont Wade Jr., Roy, you and I have talked about he's only got 70 at-bats, and you can't judge a hitter on 70 at-bats. These guys right now, the everyday players, only got 100 at-bats. Roy, you know it as well as I do. You can't judge people just on those amount of at-bats. You got to give them some time to breathe. Go through the hurdles. I think Lamont Wade Jr. is getting a lot better swings lately.
He is, Bill, and you know me, Bill. I'm not cutting him up because he's still young, and and the more he plays, the better he's going to get. But to me, I do think that what he should do is, I think with his level of swing and all that, he needs to get really. And I'm not second guessing myself, but I think he needs to get on those weights and kind of lift and build his body.
do some bodybuilding. Is that what you're saying, Roy?
I'm saying the man I ain't trying to be no Canseco or nothing like that. But I think it would help because when you playing in the major leagues, you got to do things just like, for example, like you guys were talking earlier about, Brandon Crawford when he played with the Giants. He did little things. My understanding was Crawford would do a little bit of physical stuff. He would run. He would lift weights. He would do stuff a little bit, prepare for spring training.
But Roy, these guys are doing it. They have physical therapists. They have physical guys. They're pumping weights. They're doing a lot of it after the game. They're not just sitting around in their locker. These guys have a schedule of doing things working out, getting with their legs stronger, getting their arms stronger. You just don't talk about it enough. Maybe what I'll do is I'll get the rehab guy in, and maybe I'll get an interview with some of the guys that are in that weight room to kind of find out what players are doing daily, because they are doing these daily routines, and they are getting stronger. They have a 162-game schedule, Roy, and I think what I'll do is I'll try to get a little bit more interest in what these guys do daily and get it out to the fan base. But, Roy, thanks for the call today. It's always great catching up to you. Let's go out to Santa Clara and talk to Matt. Matt, good morning to you. The Giants 18-10. One more game on this 17-game stretch. How are you?
How you doing? Hey, first of all, I apologize. I have allergies, so my voice is coarse. But I do want to give you respect, because when I grew up, I had a baseball card, and you signed it out of a dugout, and I appreciate you. So let's talk about Randy Winn.
Sure.
You know, Randy Winn, great interview.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he played for Carroll Williams at Santa Clara University, basketball. Does anyone know that, right?
Yeah. Very good basketball player. He's a very well-rounded athlete, let me tell you. If you ever see him hit a golf ball, that's why I brought it. This guy can hit a 300-yard golf ball. He is very good. Yeah, he very is. And, you know, you say basketball, baseball, you know, when you're an athlete and you can do all that's Randy Winn. And, of course, you know, when I talk about base running and defense and how he hit, and he was just well-rounded as a baseball player through his whole career.
You know what I love, Bill, Mr. Lasky, is that I love the culture that we're bringing back to this. And it's ironic that, you know, we have one of the best head coaches in town right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to, you know, just say that we got culture back, and it's a differentiator when
I agree.
In any business you do, right? I sell software, but, I mean, culture is the key. So I appreciate Posey. I appreciate your show, and I appreciate that interview. That was insane.
Great. I appreciate that, Matt. Thanks for calling in on a morning, and I have allergies myself. You got to get some nasal drip. You got to get those allergy eye drops, and take some good medicine, because, boy, the allergy season's killing us right now in the Bay Area.
Hey, so also Warriors are going to win it.
Let's hope, man. That was a great game last night. That was an exciting game, just like the Giants game. Boy, yesterday was an exciting time of Bay Area sports.
Exactly. And Lasky, guess what? Scotty Garrelts, loved him. Your pitching staff back in the day that's how we won. So I appreciate you.
Matt, thanks for the call. Hope you feel better as the day goes on. But Matt was totally right. I mean, the culture of the Giants, and it starts with Randy Winn, Ron Wotus, two guys that are really overlooking the minor leagues. So many great people. Kyle Haynes is still down there working with Randy in the development of players. I really believe what the Giants are trying to do is build that culture, just like Matt said, with player and player development, understanding the game more, teaching the game more. And if you really want to hear it, I mean, I had Dave Righetti on a couple weekends ago, and he was talking about what he could do and what he couldn't do as a coach. Now they open the gates. Buster knows that education of baseball goes through players that have had good careers. I love what Randy Winn said on a few of the things he said. I remember the days when Willie McCovey was sitting in our picnic bench and Mike Murphy was talking to him. You know, we had Willie Mays in Murph's office all the time. They were best of friends. Murph and Willie were close as could be. And then Juan Marichal would pop in there, and I remember just sitting there at the picnic bench and just listening to him, how he pitched. And I always brought this up. If you go out to see his statue, he has more complete games than wins. Just think about that. It's never going to happen again. There's no question about it. A complete game is once in a blue moon now. But back in the day, Juan Marichal, more complete games than wins. That's a great stat. Really is. All right, we're going to take a quick break, come back with more. This is the Giants warm-up show. My name's Bill Lasky, coming back with more on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
While Bob Melvin preps the men in orange and black, we'll prep you for today's ball game as our Giants warm-up continues on the Sports Leader.
Now the pitch. Swung out and missed. He struck him out. And he threw him the sinker. The only one he threw him. And he got a little extra at 97 miles an hour.
Yeah. Ryan Walker's back, folks. That was a nice comeback after 2 opening singles.
All right, back on the Giants warm-up show here on KNBR. My name's Bill Lasky as we get you ready for that first pitch at 1:05. Jordan Hicks on the hill for the San Francisco Giants against Mr. Leiter. Of course, you remember him, Jack Leiter, a young, promising 25-year-old. He's been out with a blister on his middle finger, so this is his first start back from the IL. He was pitched in 2 games, and he's pitched pretty well for him so far. He's only pitched 10 innings. He's gone 10 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run. 1 walk, 10 strikeouts, a top-of-the-line fastball. He will elevate that fastball, pinpoint it. As you look at it, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts, so he will be in the zone. But then you look at what the Giants can do against right-handers. They're 16-3 on the season against right-hand pitchers. So this is a good start for Leiter. And it's going to be real interesting how the Giants approach him today. When you look at what the Giants have been doing, you look at a quick month of March. They were 3-1 in March. In April, how about this number? 15-9. Such a good number right there. You can dissect it even better than that. When on the 17-game stretch, they're 9-7, 10-4 against interleague play, 8-4 at home. They're 4-2 on the current homestand. 10-6 on the road. Now, of course, after today, they have an off day tomorrow. They travel down to San Diego for 2 and come back for Colorado for 4 games right here next weekend. So now they get into the NL West. And, of course, when you're looking at the Rockies are struggling. But the first-place Giants, can say that right now, the first-place Giants are 18-10 in the National League West. Let's take a look at the lineups real quick before we get up to the booth with John Miller. Let's take a look at what the Giants are throwing out there against Leiter today. Yastrzemski will be in right field. He'll be leading off, hitting 278. Willie Adames is playing shortstop. He's hitting 205. Nice base hit yesterday to drive in 2. Jung-Hoo Lee playing center field, hitting 327. He's hitting third. Matt Chapman back being a clean-off hitter. He is hitting 221, and he's playing third base. Wilmer Flores back in the DH spot. He's hitting 255. 27 RBIs for Wilmer Flores with 7 home runs. Elliot Ramos had a nice base hit to lead off that bottom of the 9th. He's in left field hitting 234. Lamont Wade Jr. back at first base, hitting 114. I don't look at that 114 anymore. You know, at first I started going, man, the guy's scuffling. He is really getting some good at-bats lately. I like how he's starting to go to left field a little bit more. I'm looking for Lamont Wade Jr. to get out of this slump and really get hot. Patrick Bailey behind the dish. Of course, he had the game-winning hit last night at the bottom of the 9th inning. Came in to pinch hit. He's hitting 171, 9 RBIs. Christian Koss back at second base. Fitzgerald is still not well, so Christian Koss in a nice bunt and got a base hit yesterday. He's hitting 200. Yastrzemski, Adames, Lee, Chapman, Flores, Ramos, Wade, Bailey, and Koss. That's what Bob Melvin's lineup is for the San Francisco Giants. Going over to Bruce Bochy, of course, the Texas Rangers are 15-12. This is their last game on a road trip. Josh Smith leading off. He's playing shortstop. Jake Berger is playing first base. He's sitting second. Jock Peterson back in the DH spot for the Texas Rangers. Struggling so far, 5 for 65, .077 batting average for Jock Peterson. Adolis Garcia is in right field, hitting 209. Marcus Semien, of course, we remember him with the Oakland A's. Good friend of mine. Just a good round player. He's hitting $146, playing second base. Josh Jung is hitting sixth. He is at third base, 275. Jonah Heim batting seventh. He's catching today, hitting 248. Dustin Harris in left field hitting 250, and Leota Taveras hitting 200, playing center field. The one thing Taveras does, he's got 6 stolen bases, so got to keep your eye on him if he gets on base. Smith, Berger, Peterson, Garcia, Semien, Jung, Heim, Harris, and Taveras is what Bruce Bochy's throwing out there. On the hill today, Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter, of course, is in the starting rotation back in. As I just said, he had a right middle finger blister. He pitched in AAA on Tuesday. He threw 4 2/3 innings, giving up 1 hit, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Threw the ball very well. He had 2 starts earlier in the season. He was the 2021 first-round draft pick for the Texas Rangers, 25 years old. 10 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts. And we're going against one of the good pitchers, Jordan Hicks. He's been struggling a little bit lately, still throws in the high 90s, 98, 99, even topped a 101 in Philadelphia. 1-3 with a 6.5 earned run average. He's given up 2 home runs, 27 in the third innings, 29 hits. This is the number, 13 walks, a lot of walks. He's got to get better in throwing strikes, 24 strikeouts, 20 earned runs so far for Jordan Hicks. When you look at his last 3 outings, they have not been impressive. He's gone 5 innings, 5 earned runs against Milwaukee. In Philadelphia, remember, he gave up 5 runs in the first inning and then shut out the Phillies for the next 6 innings. He went 7 innings in that game, giving up 6 hits. The Yankees, he threw 4 innings, giving up 8 hits, 7 earned runs. So he's looking for a better outing here in the last 3 outings have been difficult for Jordan Hicks. But you look in the bullpen, you got a couple guys that are ready to roll. Of course, when you look at 2 pitchers that I just love watching pitching right now, Randy Rodriguez and Hayden Birdsong, both these guys have been dominant coming out of the bullpen. Randy Rodriguez right now has been in 11 games. He's 1-0, 11 2/3 innings. He's pitched 16 strikeouts with no walks, only given up 8 hits. Has a 0.00 earned run average. He has just been dynamite. A hard slider, throws that really hard and gets good movement on it. And he throws in the mid-90s. So Randy Rodriguez can be available today. And the other one that I've always liked is the 23-year-old Hayden Birdsong. Hayden Birdsong's been in 6 games. He's pitched 13 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 walks, 13 strikeouts, has a 1.38 earned run average. So both these guys are in middle relief, long relief if something happens in this game to Jordan Hicks. Good start today. Giants are ready to roll, and of course today is the last game of a 17-game stretch that they've been playing all the way back to the New York Yankees on this road trip when they took 2 out of 3 from New York. Then they went on to Philadelphia and split with the Phillies 2 games out of 4. They went out to Anaheim last weekend, lost a tough one on Sunday. They lost 2 out of 3, and then they came right back here and played Monday, and they ended up beating the Brewers 3 games out of 4. And today they have an opportunity to get their 6th series win as they play the Rangers, and it's 1-1, a 3rd game rubber match today at 1:05. I'm Bill Lasky. This is a warm-up show. More coming up next as we get into the KNBR pregame show right here on the Sports Leader.
Don't miss a second of the action from Bowmel Squad. Listen to the best double plays in the business.
Wisely has it, flips to Fitzgerald for 1, over to first, double play.
Plays at the plate.
Freeman hits a high chopper to Chapman. He's got it. He's coming home, and the throw in the tag, and they got him.
Sean Miller's home run calls.
There's a shot deep down the left field line. It's on its way from Berkeley. Adios, pelota.
All season long on the San Francisco Giants Radio Network. KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Sunday afternoon in San Francisco, we're at Oracle Park for the final game of a 3-game series, last game of a homestand, and last game of this 17-game stretch without an off day for the Giants. It's the Giants and the Texas Rangers. Giants going for a series win. Jordan Hicks gets the ball up against a right-hander just off the injured list. Very talented Jack Leiter. I'm Dave Fleming. Along with John Miller, it's the Giants and the Rangers pregame show to come. Baseball on the radio.